Don't be nervous now, Marcus.
Oh, I'm not.
It's all good.
I'm in shock.
How you doing?
Twangtastic.
Isn't it great? Hey everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show, Viewers and Commons Questions Live. I think I said that right. It's been a long day. Dan
Sounds
here.
like it.
Mick here, hello, and
Marcus here.
for those of you who don't know, this is Senor Marcus of Reevesshire, who we know and love very dearly on That Pedal Show for his wonderful creations.
Thank you very much.
Unbelievable creations.
Oh,
Yeah,
I'm gonna blush.
so
That was for you, that.
But, I'll have that. Send me that later.
as regular viewers will know, we were at Anderson's last week, and it seemed that you much prefer other people in the video.
Yes, I had to drive down. It's only for the numbers.
Not just me and Dan. So we decided we're going to film with Marcus tomorrow. We're going to build a fuzz face and do some other things. Marcus is going to show us how to do it.
Are we using a tag board or anything tomorrow? Are we going? Are we doing it Reed and
No,
Metro
I think
style?
we're doing the George Trips bag of fuzz face.
Yes, our Bago Fuzz Face-O.
Bago fuzzo faceo.
Yeah. So we're going to be doing that, and he's come down tonight. So we thought, why don't you sit in on the VCQ for the COVIDly worrying among you? We have all tested today, so everything is groovy as far as we're concerned.
We're all positive, so that's all like.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, we're all good. We're all good.
Can I just say, I don't know whether anybody knows, there's a demo guy called Sasha Ivantek. Who's been in hospital with COVID.
Has he?
And he got out yesterday. He got home yesterday. So get well soon, Sasha. Man's got mad chops. If you haven't checked him out, check him out. After you've looked at TPS. Obviously.
Yeah, Sasha Ivantik.
Ivantek, yeah.
Any more ads you want to do, Marcus?
No, that's it. That's it. Shall I go now? Anyway. He's been really ill, so it needed to be said.
Bless him. Well, get well soon, Sasha. And similarly to anyone in the US who's been affected by the tornadoes the last couple of days.
Crikey,
Sending all our love to you guys, and
stay safe.
look after yourselves.
So if you're
alive.
affected by that, or you know someone that is, not much we can say other than we hope you're all doing okay as much as you possibly can be. Okay, on to brighter matters. The good news is, Dan, it's signed me out.
Excellent. Well, there's nothing if not consistent.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah, really good, really good. Roll call, Dan?
Oh,
I'm
yes. Roll call. Yeah, roll call. Marcus is here. So where is everyone coming in from? Mike Blue says, howdy from Austin, Texas. Wonderful. And Panutted Humbucker, he says it the wrong way around, says, hey everyone, from Bavaria in Germany. Bavaria.
That reminds me. I need to speak to Dan Drive. He FaceTimed me at the weekend, but I was driving, so like a conscientious citizen, I didn't stay on the call for more than about 20 minutes. No, I didn't pick up.
Very good. Dennis Flock says, good morning from Kankakee, Illinois. Lovely.
Like Lake Wazapamani.
Let's
That's
see.
the Blues Brothers
Thank
thing,
you,
isn't it?
thank you.
Absolutely.
Well done.
It's ladies' night tonight.
Curtis R. says, Enzo Flags, cheers from Kansas City.
Hey, Curtis.
Lovely. A lot of people saying, remarking on how good you look, Mr. Reeves. It's because we look
It's
so
the
alike.
it's the shiny head. Yeah, I took my hat off because I didn't know whether you'd work out who was who, and I haven't got my glasses on either, so it looks nice and blurry at the moment.
I can't pronounce this. Mozgojad75 says, hello from Szczecin, Poland.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also, Phil Hatton says, hello from the Isle of Man.
I was born on
lovely.
the Isle of Man, Phil, for what it's worth.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Anyway,
Is there an Isle of Woman?
there ought to be.
There should be. Is that why you've got the big bike?
It's part of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's part of it.
Let's keep it cryptic.
One does.
motorbike.
The Isle of Man has a very famous motorbike race
Oh, I
called
see.
the TT.
I see.
And if you're born there, you sort of grow up with the smell of synthetic oil in your nostrils, and you can't quite ever get over it.
I watched my first ever motor race on the weekend,
Yeah,
and I'll probably never watch another
I'm
one.
going to say
Oh,
I'm
God.
not going to say anything. Every time we say anything like that, people
I just got really confused.
not very nice to us. Yeah.
Oh, what, you actually went to one? Or
No.
on the
I
ticket?
just thought I've never watched motorsports in my life, and I
okay.
just watched the race, and I just got really confused. I mean, it was really exciting, apparently,
Yeah.
and I just got confused. But anyway, it's all good. Rules is rules. Oh no, not again.
Just come on, Dan. Keep it going. Keep
all
it
right.
going.
All right. Okay, here we go. Nate Kersey says, "Hello from Kansas City, friends and friends." And we have no Dennis Flock. I'm not reading that. And we here we go. Flapo Udenavia says, "Hi Dan and Mick. Would you ask? Love from Chile. Would you make a blues driver on the show?" Blues driver is actually an incredibly complicated pedal, so probably not. But yeah, love back to you from Chile. Yeah. Mojo Go Jad 75 says, "Guys, thank you for being so brave reading my nickname in the name of my hometown. You're very welcome." Bruce Key says, "Hello from Memphis, Tennessee."
Memphis, Tennessee. I've been there.
I have not.
I had a lovely time there. Walked up and down Beale Street, taking it all in.
When are we going, Mick? When are we going?
Not anytime soon.
Man.
If if what happens continues to happen.
Yeah.
David Zampiri says, "Cheers from Verona, Italy." So
Oh,
Italy is my
Verona.
favourite place in the world, and
Oh, man.
I'm desperate to get back there. It's just
I love Italy.
wonderful. Magic Man, cheers from Sacramento. And Cyril Zupan says, hey from Slovenia.
I've been there too. Drove a motorhome there once.
You've been everywhere, man.
I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. You heard that song?
No.
Johnny Cash.
Ah.
And then he, actually, it's been done by a few people, but he then reels off a list of places. So I guess
An all succession.
when you're on tour, it works pretty well because at some point you get to.
Absolutely. You get to wherever. You get to Reno.
Yeah. Right. For those of you joining and not understanding what's going on, if you've never joined us before, we do this every Monday. It's a live comments and questions section. We do dip into the floor, but we prioritise the super chats. Secondly, it's normally just me and that bloke over there, but this bloke here has joined us. This is
Barged
Marcus Reeves of Reeves Electro, and he's here because we're going to be filming with him tomorrow. And we thought we could maybe theme some of the questions.
My phone. Sorry, guys. My phone keeps making noises. I thought I'd turn.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn it off.
Eric Eckhart from Richmond, Virginia. Hello, Eric.
Oh,
Are
lovely.
you any relation to Eckhart Toller, I wonder? Probably not.
Jeff Harper, hello from Hickory, North Carolina.
Nice. Lake Tahoe, says James Donahue.
Mr. Wilson. Mr. Wilson with hat bass. Says, Dan, what guitar are you playing? So, this a friend of ours sent us some guitars to try, and I ended up becoming very attached to this. I'm doing a vlog on this because it's been heavily modified. So
I have to say, it looks even more beautiful in the flesh.
yes,
It's got curves. That roll on the neck edge looks absolutely sublime as well.
yeah, it's beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah. It's a
Carl Longbottom Guitars.
Yes, if you go to Carl Longbottom's guitar, carllongbottomguitars.com, and you'll see a picture of this on there. But yeah, so originally it was a telly, but with this shape. A T-style guitar. And then
I think I can hear a Scud missile coming from Fender.
yeah, we thought we'd stick some wide range humbuckers and a Strat trem on it, and it's just turned into this lovely thing.
It's nice.
Yeah.
beast.
Yeah.
You're going through the ringer a bit with pickups, aren't you?
I am. Yeah. I just need to, because I'm so used to the tellies. I've got that thing where I need to let the guitars be their thing.
Yeah.
You know, and so Paul Stacey came over on the weekend. And we had a sort of a band meeting, and he had to play
Band meeting.
he had to play the guitars, and he picked this up and he just fell in love with it.
Really?
Yeah. And I heard him play, and I'm like,
Okay.
yeah. That's what it does.
Yeah. Those notes aren't on my guitar.
No.
All right, then let's start off with a question from the floor, and this is from Rick Mason. Thanks, Rick. Maybe Marcus could help us with this. You can see how this is going to go tonight. He says, "Hi chaps, how does the Germanium fuzz impedance, first in the chain, work with a wireless system?"
Wireless systems and fuzzes are not a great combo. I mean, they all vary. Some of them have an adjustable impedance and some don't. So you really have to check the specs of your wireless system.
And yet, even if they have an adjustable impedance, it's not the same as seeing the inductance of the cords out of your guitar.
No.
So a really good demonstration of this is Brian May's Germanium Trill Booster.
Yeah.
He has it on the strap of his guitar.
It's on the
It comes out of the guitar,
side, isn't
it goes into the Trill Booster, then out of the Trill Booster into the wireless.
Rick, Dan has just solved all your problems.
Put it on your strap.
Yeah,
Get your fuzz.
Get your fuzz housed in a small enough box to put on your strap. Guitar into fuzz, fuzz into wireless.
There you go.
Not exactly happy days, but happier days.
Happier days. Yeah,
Because then you've still got the massive buffering of the wireless system after it, which is going to make it super bright sounding. But that would happen on your board anyway. So good luck. Right, let's dive into these cues then, shall we?
Indeed.
For those of you just joining us, this is Marcus Reeves of Reeves Electro. He's here because we're filming tomorrow. Oh, thanks, Dan. Right. Marcus will be joining us for Meat Feast tonight. Are you a veggie, Marcus? No. So,
no one that looks like this could possibly be a vegetarian.
So, Sub Rosa. Hello, Sub Rosa. Gents, try and complete this sentence. As the king of tone is to overdrive pedals, so the blank is to distortion pedals.
Rat.
That's very good, actually.
He said rat. I'm going to say 1981 Derv.
Ooh,
yeah, that's very good. That's very good.
Because it is a rat, but it's not.
It's a tweaked one.
Yeah.
It's a modern.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Andy Timmons at plus pedal.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because it's got the two sides on it. You've got the drive side, you've got the boost side, and I think, it's pedal in the early days we used to use those a lot, and they sound flipping fantastic.
Yeah. No 3-year waiting list though, so.
Oh, okay. You need the waiting list, right? Yeah. Sorry, my bad.
Probably honourable mention to the OCD as well.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of
which version?
Borderline.
1.7. What about Pete Cornish? How long's his waiting list? He must do.
I'm going to give him a call.
He must do a totally brilliant distortion pedal.
Yeah, of course. Everything he makes is brilliant.
Yeah.
Depending on the amp you're going into as well.
What's the Analog Man distortion pedal then?
It'd be. Doesn't he do mods to the
SD1?
The SD1. I've never been able to work that thing out.
We're gonna crack it.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Subrosa. Plexico. Hello, Plexico.
G'day, mate.
He says, greetings. I wanted to say thanks for sharing your guitar knowledge and editing skills, the material in a manner that's beneficial for all. Happy holidays. Thanks, Plexico.
Thank you, Plexico.
I particularly enjoy the editing skills comment, given that last week's show was a little bit challenging.
Yes, it's been Mick's been going above and beyond the call, like he always does. But a show like last week.
Sometimes shows go really smoothly and they're completely brilliant. Sometimes you just you'll get a guitar out of tune and then a patch lead won't work and you know, these are hardly big problems, but
Yeah, but the little problems like that during filming can mount up.
yeah,
You know,
And
and
they
then
can
it'll
turn
cut.
me into
What,
the Hulk.
and then there'll be we're really into it. Then there'll be a cut, and suddenly we're both really grumpy. What's happened?
because one of the cameras has broken down. Yeah. Anyway, Kevin Rubong. Hello, Kevin. Timely episode. He says, after buying many amp in a box pedals, I finally got the real one, a Bassman LTD, like a Tweed. I'm enjoying the normal channel, but any tips on jumping in conjunction with amp settings?
On the Bassman,
Yeah, it's been so long since I played a Bassman, I don't know.
it'd be the same as the JTM 45.
Just just check that the channels are in phase.
Yeah,
That
there should be.
they should be. So, or you'll know the technique from a Marshall, 4-input Marshall, like that one there. You just put a patch lead in between one of the inputs on one of the channels and one of the inputs on the other channels and plug into anywhere else. And that joins the channels. So,
It's important to say though that your input, your guitar input, your main input into the amplifier needs to go into channel 1, and then the patch lead goes from the second channel into channel 1 of the other amplifier. That's to get the most out of it.
to get the most
Yeah.
gain, yeah. But if that's too much, you could try input 2.
Too much.
The way we set it on the Marshall, and I don't know if a Bassman is the same, but set the normal channel to kind of, you know, as loud as you like it, and then dial in the high treble channel to taste.
Yep.
I don't think the differences are quite as marked in a Bassman as they are in a Plexi,
Right.
because I don't think you have that massive wrongly spec'd bright cap.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
The other thing to try is you could put an effect pedal in between in your jumper lead. So come out of output 2 of one channel, put in, I don't know, any effect pedal you like, a delay, anything else.
Even an EQ.
There you go, an EQ.
Works like a treat.
That's a great idea, especially for that thing.
Yeah.
My son has just texted, "Can I borrow £2, please, Dad?" Sorry. It's what boys do. He knows I'm doing this right now.
Right. Yep.
He's like, well, at least he knows I'm on my phone.
Does he actually want to borrow £2?
He does. He does.
Can you guess what that's for, Dan?
Oh, I can. Some sort of skin on a blinking computer game. Anyway,
Yeah.
just thought I'd share. That's my life.
Nice.
That's my life. It's another really cool thing to
Is
do.
it just a flat no, or?
It'll be a bumpy no.
Yeah.
It'll be a conversation that ends with no.
Yeah.
You know, he's got to earn that £2.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been listening to a really brilliant, actually shout out to BBC Sounds, and there is a series on BBC Sounds called The Spark,
Oh yeah, you told me about this.
and
yeah.
it's about just some slightly more critical thinking than we're encouraged to engage in normally, and it is flipping fascinating. And the one I was listening to on the dog walk yesterday was about rapport.
Right.
And this couple, man and a wife, they're both psychologists.
Right.
Sorry, I'll make this brief. They've researched the biggest data set ever on interrogating prisoners and terrorists.
Right.
Which is pretty dark, right? It's
Yeah,
pretty heavy stuff.
Welcome to that pedal show.
And but the reason they've done it is because the US government have said, can you evaluate all this so that we can understand what works
Right.
and what doesn't work? And it's fascinating what doesn't work. All the things you think would work don't work.
Sure.
Anyway, they've come out of it talking about a model for interaction and arguments. So they bring it right back down to arguing with your son.
No way.
About,
Okay.
are you going to lend
I
him
will
£2?
listen to that on the way home.
Oh, I need
That's
to check that
awesome.
out.
Well done.
I promised there was a point there in the end.
Okay.
I'll check that out. I'll put Sorted with the Dyers on pause and watch that instead.
Sorry about that.
That's my life.
Which Dyer is that?
Danny Dyer.
Okay.
The two Dannys. It is actually. It'll have you in stitches. It's bubblegum, but it is funny. Anyway.
Yeah, shut it.
Yeah.
Is that?
Yeah. Behave.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah.
Shut it. Behave.
Pretty much. Yeah. Oh, God.
Anyway, Iron Wolf 1776. Iron Wolf 1776 says, I received and installed a heavy brass sustain block for my Strat. It's really made a big difference. The guitar sustains longer and the sound is less brittle, more what I would describe as mellow. Cool.
Good call. Yeah.
All that stuff has a really big part to play in the sound of your guitar. I've told the story before, but I when I first got my Junior, the bridge on the Junior doesn't have any. There's no intonation on it. It's just a wrap over bridge. I thought I'm going to buy a really expensive bridge for that Junior that's got intonation bits on it. I bought a bunch of it. I couldn't believe the difference that the original one just sounded so much better than anything else that went on there.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah,
The original?
it was amazing.
Okay.
And the original one just is like really light. So it's like some sort of aluminium thing. But yeah, it's really fascinating.
I'm a huge Japanese 70s guitar Matsumoku
nice.
Fan, and a lot of the high-end Matsumokus have brass nuts.
Yeah.
Right.
And obviously when the fretted notes don't really affect them quite so much, but the E's, especially when you're playing open chords, they have so much snap.
Interesting.
It really makes it,
Yeah, that's one for everyone out there who thinks that the only thing that makes any difference in a guitar is the pickups. There are people that believe that.
Indeed.
And that's good. Pedro Dowd. Hi, awesome trio today. Pedro, you probably posted this before it was revealed. He says, I want some pedals for the front end of my Katana Mark II Boss Katana amplifier. I'm thinking overdrive and boost and leave the modulation to the amp. What do you think? He's talking about £1,000. That's a lot of money to spend on pedals.
If you've got £1,000 to spend for something for your Katana, I have something for you.
It's called a used 65 deluxe reverb, is it? No? I didn't mean that.
What's that?
Let's see. There you go.
Is that the diamond?
No.
Back a bit down.
I'm trying. Come on.
Oh, it's getting my shiny head.
No, it's getting your eyes.
Ah.
Come on.
I don't want to look.
And then we'll come out. Still didn't work.
Doesn't want to focus.
All the focus is off, right?
It doesn't want to focus. It did earlier.
Okay.
Did it fine earlier.
One more time. Come on. Come on. There we go. Come on. Ah.
It's not having it.
Not having it.
Maybe you need something bigger behind it.
What you need is Mickey's Magic Touch.
Mickey's Magic.
Because he knows it's me.
I'm not entirely sure I want to know what that is.
Oh, stop it. How did you do that?
Because he's standing behind it. It's a bigger area that it's focusing on. It's saying that's the largest part of the picture.
Right.
So what's
Fair enough.
Oh,
So,
yeah, okay. I don't know much about this.
Valbrook. I've loved everything I've played of theirs thus far, but this is a really wonderful valve overdrive pedal, huge gain range, and a really powerful, but more importantly, really wonderful sounding EQ section. Because normally, I don't like pedals that have got bass, middle, and treble on them. I don't find a lot of them sound great, but this one sounds flippin' amazing. And I think into the Katana, having something with a bit of a valve front end that just warms up that input section could be really good. So I think that's something to consider.
So what is that? The Valbrook
Kaluna.
Valbrook Kaluna. My new favourite boost is the Thorpe Heavy Water.
Oh, great! Yeah.
Which is like about 20 bazillion dB of.
It's something else.
Insane amounts of boost. Or you could just buy a few Marcus's pedals. I think might be nice.
I would say something with a good EQ section, definitely, because the Katana, because it's built for playing quietly. If you want to crank it, that EQ curve is going to change a little bit. So you might want to take out, because it's got quite a lot of bottom end, isn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's something, as Dan has said, something with a good EQ, so that you've got some carving you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're really, we've played them when we were in Japan. They're great amps.
Yeah, of all of those amps, I'm always happy with the Katana. I think it just sounds good in the box.
Yeah.
As you say, the onboard effects, the delay and the reverb and the modulation, perfectly usable.
Yep.
Good for learning about those sounds too.
Yeah.
And I actually don't mind the drive sounds in the second channel.
Right.
Just the light overdrive sounds.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty cool sounds.
Great.
hard to answer much more than that, Pedro, just because, as you will tell, looking at these walls, there are just so many pedals. And
Many.
it's such a personal choice at the end of the day.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, it depends where your wheelhouse is as far as what you play. You know, if you want high gain, or I know if you tend towards the kind of blues side of things, then it makes a massive difference. To
Yeah,
what you
we'll
need.
check out actually the Bogner brand.
Yeah.
The Lagrange Overdrive, and then there's a couple of others that are higher gain than that. Always sound good. Always sound good. The Bogner stuff.
Yeah.
Bogner.
Very
Bogner.
true. Nice.
Good luck. Daniel Herbert. Hello, Daniel. He says, happy Monday, guys.
G'day, mate.
It's my
Happy
birthday
Monday.
on Friday.
Oh,
Happy birthday!
Please have a couple of pints on me as a thanks for a great year of fun and learning. I got my Telecaster last time. Nothing so grand this year, but still excited.
Wonderful. Congratulations, mate.
Yeah, win-win with a telly.
Yeah. Well, talking of Telecasters, have a look at my strap.
Have a look at this.
I'm a telly player as well, so yeah. Oh man, that colour does not come out on the screen, does it?
That has the best neck I've played on a Strat. I think it's just perfect.
Feces Brown. I just did the vlog today on the actual colour, talking about Fender's Golds over the years. And yeah, I bought myself new guitar markers for the first time in ages. A little bit annoyed that it's heavier than I wanted it to be.
Oh, here's a bit.
I know.
Yeah.
It is. I'm just deciding whether I can get over it or not. But like a proper neck.
Yeah, that's the neck, isn't it?
For ages they didn't, because the old ones, they're thin down here and fat up here.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
they that one's a really
like
good
that.
example
Yeah.
of it.
Really
That
great.
reminds me of my telly, actually. It's that. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Tom?
I approve.
Thanks. Yeah, I decided I can't afford an old one, so
So what's the spec of that? When was that actually
so
built?
62 Relic last year.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm quite
Yeah, it's
pleased.
lovely.
You'll see it
Yeah.
on the show in coming days, weeks. Have a good one, Daniel, and thanks for your kindness.
Thank you,
Seattle Phil. Hello, Phil. He says, can you explain Underdrive a bit more? Like how you set it up exactly. Does the pedal cut volume or gain or both? And is EQ a factor?
So, Underdrive can be a number of things. A really interesting way to think about it. If you just reduce the volume, let's say you've got your overdrive pedals, and that's going to the front of your amplifier, and then after the overdrive pedals, you've got your underdrive, and it's just reducing the volume, then the gain of the pedals don't change. However, if you're going into the front of your amplifier and your amplifier is doing the gain, and then you reduce the amount of signal going to the front of your amplifier, then you are fundamentally changing that gain structure and you will have less overdrive. So the underdrive in that situation, you will actually add gain but reduce volume so that you can sort of replicate that sense of limiting, that sense of overdrive. But there's a number of different ways that you can do it. Having also using the effects loop of your amplifier, having something in there that has enough clean headroom to handle the line level signals that are coming from the effects loop, and using that as like a master preamp volume control. So instead of trying to boost more signal into the amplifier, what you're doing is you're having your main rhythm sounds as actually a reduced volume. You turn your amp up, and then when the underdrive gets turned off is when you have your boosted signal. I think a lot of guys struggle. They get a really lovely sound from their amps and pedals and everything's great, but then they go to do a solo, and just pushing more signal is nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
The underdrive gives you somewhere to go. It works really well.
Yeah. Is that something you ever do? The underdrive thing?
Not massively. I mean, I use quite a low headroom amp anyway, a Tweed Deluxe. So I guess I do really, because I look at when I kind of set up a new gain structure, I'll generally work from where I'm hitting my ceiling of headroom,
Right.
and work backwards from that, as opposed to working up towards it. And then,
Sure.
like you say, you run out of room. So you start from where you want to be loudest, volume-wise, and then come back from that, and you're never going to run out of room then.
Yeah.
That's my principle.
Yeah, and I think, Phil, everything you say about gain, volume and EQ, it's all of those things.
Yeah.
And really, if something in the way that your sound needs to be changed in any one of those factors, then underdriving it can change any of those things. So you can either be quieter and more distorted, you could be quieter and less distorted, you could be quieter with a different EQ setting. And practical examples, practical applications for that might be, for example, you've got like a nice big intro to the song, which is all fat and distorted and huge, and you want to keep that fat and distorted huge sound when the singing comes in. But if you turn down the guitar, you lose all the distortion. I guess you could, well, what could you do? What you can do is step on an underdrive, turn it down, keep the distortion from the pedals before it. So that's a practical example. And seeing as you mention EQ, you might, depending on how quiet you got to go, you might get into a bit of Fletcher Munson, where the quieter it gets, the sort of more prominent your bass and treble frequencies need to be in order to be audible. Or same cat, different skin. You might want to scoop the mids out a little bit to get right away from the vocal. So
I think we might need to turn Super Chat off. How we going?
I don't know. It's
Are we
obviously
okay?
logged us out again.
And just to follow on from that, also, there's also there's nothing quite like taking bass out right at the beginning of your chain. If you're running out of headroom, you'll be amazed how much difference dialing back the bass early in your chain will actually extend your headroom.
That is
because
really,
it's just not
really great shout.
getting crushed when it hit your amp.
That's
So,
a great
yeah.
shout. We should say thank you to BV
Yes, BV.
Yes.
Legend.
today for moderating for us. BV does an amazing job at keeping that chat a harmonious and enjoyable place to be.
He's a harmonious monk.
Yay! In fact, he's just textualized. Sorry, we are all a bit over the place today. BV
Are you
says-
sprinting to Christmas now?
Thanks, BV,
No, I've
thank
had
you.
my sprint this week.
You have.
Yeah, I had a waitlist Wednesday. Thank you everybody who ordered on waitlist Wednesday, by the way. I had my last sale day of the year this on Wednesday. I've ordered all the bits and I'm just working through a bit. The builds will start after Christmas,
Right.
I think. So it's been a busy year. So
Yeah.
no thanks to you two. No, I'm not sprinting. I'm knackered. Really. There we go.
That's what happens when you insist on building all your stuff yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Right, we're going to turn the super chats off because otherwise we won't get through them. So if you have super chatted up to this point, we will answer you. If you haven't, please don't. And then that will give us some chance of having some dinner this evening.
I'm starving.
Yeah.
I'm
There
always
you go.
starving.
It's gone on again.
It's a gift.
Isn't it? Yeah.
It's so naughty. I just did it and it turned it on again.
Really?
It's so naughty. It's so naughty.
Wow.
And they'll... Honestly, good job I'm not a conspiracy theorist, Dan.
Good job.
Dead Air. This is called Dead Air.
This is,
Dead
yeah,
air.
sorry, I'm looking at the and the stuff that's come in.
I do know some jokes.
Oh, Jeff Lecter says, greetings from Kalamazoo. Pints and a tour of the historic ex-Gibson factory are on me
Oh,
when
nice.
you make a pilgrimage. So the building is still there, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, the
Isn't it?
Heritage are in there,
I was
aren't
going
they?
to say it's inhabited by
Heritage.
Heritage
Ah,
guitars.
I
And
see.
I don't know if they're in that exact building, but
I don't know. No, I thought that was the case, but I wouldn't be able to confirm that.
Martin Cable. Hello, Martin.
Hello,
he says,
Martin.
hello, gents. Do you ever suffer from song fatigue? have you ever spent so long learning something that by the time you can play it, you're sick of hearing it?
Oh, man.
Every time.
Is it better to learn
Absolutely.
one thing at a time or have a few on the go?
So, I'll tell you what. Depending on how you're approaching it, if you're learning a song for fun, as soon as it stops being fun, then move on to something else and then come back to it. If you're
Like
doing
crack
like a
cocaine.
chord study, I'm pulling apart Wes Montgomery's D Natural Blues at the moment, and it's really, really tough going. But because there are things in there that I want to learn and be able to sort of understand what's going on, I understand it's going to be tough going, and so I'll make those incremental steps. I'm not expecting to, feel incredibly inspired and into the whole thing.
That was Coltrane's follow-up album, was it? Incremental Steps.
Incremental steps.
Brilliant.
Yeah, very good. Very good.
I was in a function band for a long time, and there were certain artists that I refused to put on the set list because I knew that they would ruin my love for songs that I really enjoyed.
Ah,
Yeah.
can you give us an example?
Stones, The Jam.
So no Stones,
No Stones, no Paul Weller.
because you didn't want to play it, or
No, because I didn't want to ruin it for me.
oh wow,
Yeah,
Interesting.
because
Interesting.
that happened to every other song that we played. I'm like, no, I don't want to hear that song ever again.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. I've had the same thing with a couple of Crowded House tunes that I've never purposely learnt.
Man. Yeah.
Just because I want to enjoy. Because every time you learn something so analysis, really important in that whole procedure. And when you analyse it and you get to understand what's going on,
Takes the magic away,
does,
doesn't it?
It does take the magic away. So
Yeah.
as purposefully listening to some of the Crowded House tunes, and I turn that analysis part of my brain off. And it's actually really hard to do,
Wow.
but just learning to be in the moment and just experiencing that music for what it is.
God, I'm almost the opposite of that.
Right.
It's
Really?
almost the analysis of the tune that makes it much more
Wow.
interesting to
Yeah,
me.
no,
Wow.
I'm with Dan
It's not,
on that one.
it's not that it doesn't make it interesting, but if with my brain, as soon as I start to, I can hear the changes and I know what they are, and then I'll start to think on it, and I'll start to think about the melody and what's going on harmonically and all that stuff, and then before I know it, I know the song, and it's like it's too much, especially then if I start playing that song in a band.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh,
It's
right,
okay.
no, I don't get like that.
It's
That's
okay if I
fascinating.
do it in the odd thing where
Yeah.
I play it a couple of times a year, but if I'm doing like we did with Dougie,
Absolutely.
that has ruined some songs for me. Absolutely.
So,
I
mean,
think that's more about the gig though than it is.
Oh, totally. But I
Yeah.
can't. But differentiating between the two is really hard.
Right.
yeah.
You know.
And there's a difference between doing covers of the song where they're slavish and owning it.
Yeah. Right.
Because if you really take it, to a different place, and it does become yours, and it's beautiful to play. But if you're kind of having, like function band kind of thing, then yeah, it hurts, or it hurts me anyway. And I get it with the Crowded House actually as well, because their stuff is so intertwined, isn't it? There's so many different things going on to make up that one chord.
Just
you
think,
know, yeah.
Neil Finn's music is just so important to me, and
I'm a huge fan as well.
yeah,
so,
I just anything that takes. I think a large part of my career was playing those tunes. We played XTC and Crowded House was basically, 80% of our set,
Wow.
and
That's
it was
a weird gig.
it was.
No,
Well,
I'd
no,
go to that gig
They were
twice.
see XTC were massive in Australia,
Yeah.
Right. Really.
Yeah.
massive,
Wow.
like really popular, and certainly amongst they were like sort of
I didn't want to
equivalent.
be disparaging towards XTC, by the way. I'm just saying, for your average
Yeah,
pub
yeah.
rock audience,
Yeah.
playing that much XTC might be a challenge.
Yeah, I think so. They're kind of akin to Steely Dan in Australia. The way that musos would hold them in great esteem.
Right.
So yeah, and I
It's always time for the Wee song when you do the Steely Dan track, isn't it?
yeah.
That's where all everyone who doesn't really like musicians goes off and has a wee when you play the Steely Dan.
Or a
tune.
meal.
Yeah, yeah.
And, have the car washed and then come back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, hang on, that's
Sorry,
prog.
little bit wedding gig weary there. Where if you're not playing something that's been
Status
number
quo.
one for a long time, they're throwing lettuces at you.
Sure.
And how many songs then before it becomes too much? Just once?
No, not at all.
Could you just not? If like, what's
When
your
we
favourite Crowded
when we
House
do
song?
a favorite Crowded House song, oh man, it's probably it's really hard.
Private Universe for me.
Not
yeah,
the girl you think you are is mine.
that Fall at Your Feet. I love Pineapple Head. Walking on the Spot
great
is
song.
another amazing song.
You liked them before they were famous, though, right?
I really did.
Chocolate Cake.
But the thing is, it's not necessarily about how many times I play the tunes. It can be, if you really love a song, right, and you're in an environment and you're playing that song and you're singing your heart out, and with this song that really means a lot to you, and then you finish and you've been transported away to somewhere really special. You finish and you look up, and then you get the
Okay.
like, you know what I mean. You get
This is complex.
Yeah, it is. It is.
It is complex. It increases my desire to go into psychotherapy. Because it's all about the fear of being disliked, right?
My psychotherapist would make an
Ooh,
absolute fortune.
Because you don't. Anyway, let's move on. Gary O'Neill. Hello, Gary. He says, Merry Christmas, Legends.
Happy Christmas.
Love you guys.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, Gary. Martin, we hope you're not too fatigued by your tunes, by the way. More distortion, I find, always helps. Gary Stewart. He says, I have the Origin Magma 57 amp vibrato
Nice.
and Deluxe 61 amp tremolo pedals. Have you any thoughts on running 2 preamp pedals like these in parallel with the Wetterbox rather than stacking them? Love Friday's video.
It's a great way to do it.
Oh man, that'd be killer.
Yeah. And we can certainly do some, show you how that sounds. Parallel stuff is really interesting.
Yeah.
I use Parallel on my board.
Right.
I've got-
Parallel.
in quite different way to how a lot of people use it. I literally just have my reverb and my delay in parallel, because the reverbs don't get the delays don't get reverbed.
Yeah.
And the difference is night and day.
Yeah.
Absolutely night and day.
Very nice.
I've got a nice big splashy dark reverb, and it's still, you can still hear it, but it's just sat nice and low. Yeah.
So what do you do? Split before and then some again?
Yeah. So I've got a I haven't got a Wetterbox, unfortunately, Dan.
You're
So
forgiven.
I'll go now.
It's all good.
Yeah. I've got the EHX triple tri-parallel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I've got all my drives going straight through, and I'm just using 2 channels at the moment. The third channel is I'm still kind of playing with, really, but it's intrinsically it's like parallel analog drive through, really.
Yeah.
So I can put any digital pedal in there at 100% wet if it's not analog drive through.
Yeah. So you don't get
Like my EHX
all the latency and stuff.
bits and pieces. So yeah.
So Gary, yes, it would be great. I don't know if you've got another amp kicking around anywhere. Most of us have got that other amp that we used to play kicking around still, or a little practice amp. What you could try is just split the signal
Yeah.
and essentially do wet dry, but like kind of wet, and have 2 dual mono signal paths. So you're sending the Magma to one and the 61 to the other, and you'll be, if you do have access to 2 amps, you'll be smiling massively when you try that.
It's also surprising how little of the second amp you need to make the difference.
Yeah.
So even if it is what you think is a scratchy old transistor amp, try it, because you probably only need a tiny little bit, and suddenly the sound just goes boom.
Yep.
So yeah.
Nice. But yeah, kind of as Marcus hinted, what's not happening is one machine isn't overdriving the other, so you're hearing them both unsullied, as it were.
Yeah.
DJ M-Check. I've just realised what that probably means. Is it mic check? So a DJ's mic check.
Maybe.
Yeah.
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 Check.
Not mic drop.
Does a DJ check his mic? Doesn't just come out and go, "Hey," and then launch into it? I've never seen a DJ be really professional, turn up going, "Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, I just need to do my mic check. 1 second."
Yeah. Mary had a little lamb.
Can the owner of a 1987 Ford Sierra please move it out of the way of the fire escape, please? And now onto the meat ruffle. Thank you.
Booyakasha.
Bad complaints about the frozen peas. We put eaters in the gents.
DJ Mcheck says, love the contextual format. The 6 Uses of Delay show was incredibly helpful. Dan's intro and Mick's rockabilly demo were amazing. The Edge and Brian Setzer are probably a bit insecure after seeing that.
I really don't think
We
so,
don't
but
think they
thank
will
you
be.
so much.
I'll second that. I thought it was a great show as well, guys.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Honest, yeah,
we
yeah,
do
yeah.
want we want to do more of it. It's
Yeah.
Aside from anything else, it is really blimmin' good fun.
Oh,
You
man.
look like you're enjoying yourself.
Just to
actually.
play.
It was
Yeah,
great.
yeah, absolutely.
Honestly,
yeah,
this is going to sound slightly crazy. I like standing up.
Oh, yeah.
It's not
It's-
that the chairs are uncomfortable.
No,
It's I
no.
can't play when I'm
It's
sat down.
hard to play.
They
sat
are a little
down.
bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Oh, you're not enjoying it?
No, it's fine.
So how many hours do you think we've done on these stools?
Oh man, I was going to ask you that question actually, because they look they're more comfortable than they look actually.
Yeah.
yeah.
You just got to get it hung over the back just right.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just that, yeah.
Yeah. There's
But
quite
yes.
a lot of Americans are really concerned about the stools.
Oh really?
Yeah.
It's a diet thing though, isn't it?
It could be. But
I'm not going there.
we could get some padded ones, but what you get is loads of noise, you see, and I can't.
Yeah,
cope
yeah.
with it.
Ah, right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, stand up when you're playing. Sorry to barge in, but it makes a massive difference. If you do sit down, stand up because you'll feel free.
Yeah, it's
We
just
all need a bit of that.
better, isn't it? It's just a basic angle thing for me. I need to be a bit more like that than like that.
Well, it's funny though, isn't it? Because if you're in the studio, generally you sit down because it seems a bit more accurate. If you
Yeah, I don't.
oh I don't you? Oh, it's interesting.
Here's,
I always sit, if I'm overdubbing in the studio, I'll always sit down.
here's the thing
I
about
might
neck,
stand. Yeah, actually.
here's the thing about
Yeah.
neck shape then. So lots of people who like modern guitars don't like fat necks. This is a massive generalisation, but as with all generalisations, it's generally true. And so there you are playing your nice modern guitar. Wow, this neck's a bit fat. Because where are you? You're up here, your hands all around there.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
It's a completely different kettle of whales. Yeah. Feces brown. And that's why I love that taper thing, because by the time
Yeah.
I'm at the dusty end, my thumb's pretty much always over the top.
Right.
So, anyway.
Oh, we've got 1,000 people watching us right now.
No way.
Get in.
Amazing. Thank you, everyone.
Carl Longbottom's on with a Viz top tip.
Oh, come on, hit us with this top. Can we? Is it readable?
Well, it's slightly sexist, so I'm going to leave out the first word.
Okay.
It says,
What is it,
embarrassing,
man?
embarrassing noise? Leave an empty trombone stand outside the lavatory door and people will just think you're practicing.
Very
Nice one,
good.
Carl. If you've never read Viz, please do. And likewise, I was going to mention Wolfgang's Big Night Out, which I think is Brian Setzer's Christmas record. Brian Setzer has done a Christmas record with a big band, and it is flipping brilliant, seeing as you mentioned Brian Setzer just a minute ago. Morten Pedersen.
I went to see the Stray Cats in 1984.
No way.
Southend Cliffs Pavilion.
Can you remember much about it?
Yeah, I can. I was quite young, so they were absolutely blistering rockabilly. Yeah.
Were you into guitar at the time?
Just. That's a long story. That is. Yeah. So I started playing guitar.
Obviously, the question I'm working up to was: did he have a Gretsch and a Space Echo and a?
Oh, no, I wasn't geeking at that age.
Well, he will have had a Gretsch for sure.
I'm sure
but
he would have done.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had a big rockabilly guitar. That's what I knew at the
Yeah.
time.
Massive hair.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was like that.
Awesome. Morten Peterson, no question from you, Morten, so we'll keep a lookout. Whit Anderson, hello, Whit. Greetings from Hopewell, New Jersey. Thanks, gents. I love everything you do. Your inspiring shows have measurable impact on my happiness, playing and monthly expenses.
Ah,
That's the result, isn't it?
that's very good. And sorry.
It's like, yay!
Oh,
Good on you, Whit. Thanks for being with us.
thank you, mate.
Thanks for being
Appreciate
with us.
it.
Prog Doggy.
Hey,
Happy
bud.
Monday. Love the new format. Will you be doing any jams with 2 guitars, bass and drums? I think that's often what people run into problems fitting in the mix. Love the show.
It's a very important show to do, and we will absolutely do it.
Yeah.
We need to make sure the couple of shows that we've done have been experiments,
Yeah.
and so
We're feeling our way.
yeah,
basically.
we're learning that process. 2 guitars is a very different thing than 1 guitar, so we just want to make sure that we are asking and answering the correct questions with the 1 guitar thing.
Yeah.
And then we'll get Paddy at
We'll definitely get there. The sort of slight technical issue we have in this room is that it's a very small room. So aside from the physical aspect of getting 4 people in here, there's also a sort of maximum SPL that the room can take, and
Yeah, it all starts to.
we've got an amazing
Crush
amount of
into it.
spill into the drum mics, which is kind of how we like it. We really, really don't want to go down the kind of cordoning everything off and making it like a studio, because we're not talking about recording studios. We're talking about playing together as an ensemble. And on that front, one of the points we really want to hammer home is, yes, tone is important, but what you play is infinitely more important. So if there's 2 guitars playing in the band and you're playing the same thing, might be important in a unison, part of the song. But actually, if you listen to most great music, those 2 guitars are doing entirely different things, and therefore they're out of each other's way because they're in a different register, they're playing a different rhythm, they're doing something different. And that there's a lot to learn there about playing as an ensemble, because I don't know about you guys, but certainly most of the bands I've ever played in my life are a bunch of individuals trying to be individuals.
Yeah.
And the best bands I've ever been in my life, and there's probably only ever been one of them, has not played for the individuals. It's always about the band and
About the song.
about the collective. And that, if we can help people really believe that rather than just say it, then I think everything gets easier. But yes, we totally will do that. We totally will do that. As a slight adjunct, call up iTunes or Spotify or whatever it is you use and listen to the Beatles Get Back remaster. It's the one where John Lennon is speaking at the beginning. He's like, "Oh, sweet Loretta Martin, dark she was," a whatever. And you hear somebody there is playing, I don't know what it is, could be a Casino, could be a Ricky, could be a Telly. Anyway, it's a phenomenally trebly guitar into a phenomenally trebly amp, a sound that you think would never, ever, ever work. Song kicks in, that's one guitar, and then the other guitar's the lead part, which is really muted and mid-heavy. And you're like, wow, I'd roll a bit more treble on that if that was me.
Yeah.
And then you
hear it together.
Do you think so?
What?
Get Back. It's the lead part. I think Lennon plays the
No,
lead
he didn't
part.
play the bass 6 on that, did he? No, on Get Back. That was on his Casino.
Beatles fans out there will know which is which, but just listen to it. They're panned hard left and right, and it is a masterclass in how to mix 2 guitars in a mix.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I digress.
Well, just a quick thing. I'm sure some of you will know, we are knocking on the edge of 300,000 subscribers. We're really close. If you haven't subscribed to the channel already,
Please do.
We'd really appreciate it.
Yeah.
It'd be great. Thank you.
What happens when we hit 300?
301, 302.
YouTube offer the sound of one hand clapping.
YouTube have never sent us our little...
You have to ask for it.
Oh, okay. We've never asked.
Yeah.
All right.
My
okay.
nephews are obsessed with why we haven't asked for our plaque. I'm like, there's enough crap in here already.
Fair enough.
Is it buffered?
Yeah, right. It's a good doorstop.
It's buffed.
Yeah.
Andrew Pickup. Hey, Andrew, how are you? Andrew came to one of our
Oh, yeah,
experience
cool.
days. Nice to hear from you, mate. He says, I'm looking to have an acoustic on stage for a few songs, so I'm thinking a small pedal board using my Iridium into the PA. Any tips on setting the Iridium for the best result, apart from getting an acoustic amp?
It's difficult because the Iridium is modelling guitar amps.
Yeah.
I think there are better options
Yeah, definitely.
than the Iridium.
There'd be too much gain even at the lowest gain for an
Yeah.
acoustic.
Yeah, the
Probably.
EQ will all be in the wrong place.
Yep.
I mean, that is assuming that there isn't a specific acoustic mode in the Iridium, and to our knowledge, we don't think there is.
No, it's three amp models, isn't there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So probably not the best solution. Like a really well equipped DI box would do a better job.
Yep.
I'd shout LR bags.
Yeah.
Have a look at what they do.
Fishman.
Fishman.
Yeah, there's plenty of
Yeah.
little boxes. I know it's a bit of extra outlay, but it will do a much better job than the Iridium.
Yeah, I think you'll find with the Iridium, you'll as soon as you get to any half gig worthy volume, it's easy for you to say, you'll just end up not being able to play it properly because it will just be howling.
David Tompkins has had a brilliant idea. Get the plaque and build a pedal out of it.
Oh, there you go.
That's what I was
Thanks,
thinking,
David.
yeah.
That is genius. All right, done.
Yeah, yeah. But before you spend any money at all, Andrew, just try a couple pedals and just give the output of that to the whoever it is sorts the desk out, and they will have a really great preamp on the desk that can take care of it for you.
Best guitar sound I ever heard was Neil. I said this a couple of weeks ago. I went and saw Transatlantic, and the singer Neil Morse. He was playing this acoustic on these tracks, and I was like, "That is the best live acoustic sound I've ever heard." And I went out to at the end of the show and said, "What did you do?" He said, "I plugged it's just piezo pickup into the DI box, and the guy at the front of the house turned it up. That was it. Passive, straight in the DI box.
So don't
put a reverb in the front of the house. Done.
Yeah. Try it with and without, Andrew. But you might find that as long as there's a decent DI box or the front of house is equipped to take that, they'll sort it out for you. You obviously you then got a problem with monitoring, but then it would be the same with the
acoustic,
Iridium anyway. Sorry, you were going to say something.
I was going
Marcus.
to say, now this might lead you down a dud path, but I went to see Chris Helm of the Seahorses play an acoustic gig a couple of months ago. Just him with a board, and he had the Joyo British sound. I quizzed him about this, and he had it right down, the gain right down, just volume to get to unity. So basically the pedal is mimicking the same kind of output as the guitar is when it's off. There's no volume jump. And he literally just used it just to add a tiny little bit of dynamic. And yeah, it worked a treat, to be honest.
I think one of the best acoustic guitar pedals we've ever messed about with was that LR Bags thing that had a bit of preamp and a bit of harmonic overdrive.
They are very clever.
Really lovely.
Really good.
Bags.
Anyway, good luck, Andrew.
Yeah, good luck, mate.
I hope you get there. Punotted Bumhucker says...
you don't want to try and say that 3 times in a row, do you?
Hey lads, I'm only here so you can laugh about my nickname. I love you guys and hope to see another Fuzz Talk soon. Cheers from Toby. Thanks,
Cheers, Toby. Yeah, be a good one tomorrow.
George Radcliffe, Bearded Leggins. Can you recommend configuration and gain settings for my Braun 3260 wet dry rig? I'm looking for good cleanup and soft clipping with a bit of hair on the top.
If you could be specific, we'd really appreciate it.
Hope everyone's having a delightful December. Okay, I don't know what a Braun 3260 is. Let's have a look.
It's the razor.
Yeah, I use it every day.
Oh, he is. He's having a laugh. It's completely gone over my head. It is a joke. I'm so sorry.
Soft clipping. Clipper.
Sorry, mate.
Happy Christmas. I'm getting new clippers for Christmas. No, I don't know. I don't know that I am. Sorry. I've sent her the link.
George, so sorry. It does rather rob you of a sense of humour doing this week in, week out.
Read that again, actually.
Okay.
Let's see how funny it is.
I'm looking for configuration and gain settings for my Braun 3260 wet dry rig. Looking for some good cleanup and soft clipping with a bit of hair on the top end.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, well
Well
played.
done.
Yeah,
Well done.
yeah, we like that.
Nice.
Rob Symington. Yes, Marcus. I ordered a Black Hat sound on Wednesday. Can't wait for it to arrive.
Good man.
Lovely.
I've still got a few of the transistors left. So
David Rustad, long live Reeves Electro. Thank you for
David.
my 2N2 face and my 108 master. They make my life awesome.
They made mine a bit awesome as well. Thank you.
Thank you, David. James Green, tell Mr. Reeves I need a new DRX CD. Mine's worn out.
Oh, now
your
there's
band?
a man. Oh, well, no, it was a band that I did. It's back in the day. It was a hobo blues band.
Nice.
It's played cigar box and diddly bows and
Oh,
all
wow.
that crack. Yeah, into a little amp made out of an oil can. So, sorry, who was that again?
Did you have to live in a cardboard box as well? Or
I tried. It didn't work.
that's the whole C6 Steve shtick,
Yeah,
wasn't
pretty
it?
much. Yeah.
Actually, that is a great record. I started out with nothing and I've still got most of it left.
I went to see him a few weeks ago.
Did you?
Nottingham. Yeah.
How's he doing?
Oh, it was a solo show. Absolutely spellbinding.
Was he?
Yeah, people, he's not massive in the US actually, so, but in Europe he's huge, and people kind of see him, these, you know, and they think of him as these big, stompy kind of blues rockers, you know, kind of juke joint things, but his delivery on the delicate songs is as good as it gets.
Wow.
He's got such a breathy voice. He's
cool.
I'm a massive fan.
I put him on the cover of Guitarist once and the publisher thought I'd lost my mind.
Right.
Really?
It's like, they're playing him on radio too. He plays the guitar. He's going on the cover.
Yeah.
Nice. Well done.
Anyway. Shawnee is Cubs fan 1. Good morning from Chicago. I've got a greenback and a G12H anniversary and a 2061 cab for my Victory RK50. Is this
Nice.
a good idea or not?
Totally.
Mixing speakers is just the way forward.
I'm
Absolutely.
struggling to think of a better idea actually.
Yeah.
For that.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
yeah.
Wonderful.
Nice one.
Crack on, mate. Excellent.
It's such a killer amp, that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember when you went to the photo shoot or something, and you heard it for the first time, and you were fizzing about that amp for ages.
Yeah, I filmed the demo with Rabia and Martin Kidd at one of the studios in Brighton, and I was astounded. Wow, what a great, quite often gainy amps are one thing, aren't they? And they sound fantastic, but then the cleanup on it is astonishing.
Yeah.
Really.
Hope you're enjoying that. Paul Gatt, hello Paul. No question. Merry Christmas to all in the team. I'll miss D&M time over the break, but I hope it's a much-deserved break. You've earned it. Lismore, New South Wales.
Happy Christmas.
We shouldn't have too much of a break, Paul, with any luck. We've been trying to get a few shows filmed, so we shouldn't be off air for too long with any luck. But if you're choosing to go off the air, good on you.
Yeah.
A little break from screens is what we all need from time to time, I think. Albus Band, Aaron, hello
G'day, mate.
He says, howdy legends, Marcus included. Really loved Friday's video and thank you for everything you do. But serious question, are we going to play Stonehenge tonight?
No, we're not going to play Stonehenge. It's so funny.
I drove past it.
Friday's video was one of those videos that we were doing, and I had completely lost track of time while we were filming. But it was, it was really fun. And by the end of filming, I think we'd filmed for like an hour and 40 or something. And I thought we'd be going for like half an hour.
Really.
Yeah, and it was great. And so Mick puts in the most Herculean effort to get the thing edited down. I think it ended up being an hour and 18 or something. It was
it doesn't sound that difficult, does it? Editing, it is really difficult. All the flipping masking of all the. It just takes
nightmare.
Forever. And thank you to everyone who's going to give me loads of suggestions about how to do it better.
Yeah,
Thank you in advance.
But it was one of those videos. I thought, wow, it's it's a really important video to do, and the TPS faithful will love it.
Yeah,
I didn't think anyone else would watch it, and it goes to be gone on to be a massive video
great.
for us.
It's one of those. It's one of those ones where classic sort of TPS where the information's there if you concentrate and sift through.
Yeah.
And not everyone's got the patience for that these days, but unfortunately that seems to be the only way we can do it.
Yeah.
Every time we try and slim it down and be a bit more on point, a lot of the grease gets lost.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the important stuff.
A lot of the kind of observations, and interesting little inflections get lost. So that's an excuse for not being able to do things more succinctly.
Because I mean, sometimes it's just a tiny little detail that joins up the dots for you.
Well, and it'll turn the light
Yeah.
bulb on for someone out
Yeah,
there,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
you don't want to miss that.
No.
BV's just reminded us that tomorrow night at 7 p.m. That would be Wednesday night at 7 p.m. I'm not quite sure which time zone, but
Oh, I think it's 6 p.m., isn't it?
anyway, check out Mark Hopkins' YouTube channel, At Home with Mark. So At Home with Mark on YouTube. Dan's on there tomorrow night. Check in with Mark and watch that.
Be fun.
Yeah.
Mark's great.
How are you doing that? Are you streaming it from your phone or are you?
I don't know yet.
Yeah, nice.
It depends on what time we finish tomorrow. It may be I'll be sat in the vlog room, just on the laptop.
Nice.
It may be I'll be sat in the car on a lay-by going, hey, we'll see.
Well, it's Fuzzface. It'll only be 20 minutes. I've bought some juicy transistors to
Oh, nice.
Oh,
extras.
really?
Yeah, because I know there's a selection in that.
Yeah.
But I bought a few others as well.
Oh, it's
And,
going to be a
and
big day tomorrow because there are
some
so
fun-
many questions.
Flying leads to
So
socket them
we
with it
can
on the board.
Try some different transistors.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
That's really cool. We are going to have to set up in here to do that
Yeah, of course.
because otherwise we won't be able to hear it.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Anyway, Victor Gustafsson. Hello, Victor.
G'day, mate.
He says, "Hey gents, had he not sadly passed, what would Hendrix have done post 1970 in your qualified opinion? Gear, musically, collaborations. Thanks for all you do."
Well, I don't know how much of this is true, but I have it on good authority that he was jamming with Miles Davis.
He was on a jazz journey, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
yeah.
Not long before he passed. He was, him and Miles were hooking up and doing some stuff. But man, who knows?
He'd have been in Vegas doing a...
Just the Hendrix experience.
Yeah.
He was not
At the
a
MGM.
purist. He was not a purist, so I think he would have embraced every piece of technology that came along because that's what he was doing at the time. I
Yeah.
don't think that would have ever stopped.
But
Yeah.
he was so instinctive with what he did. Oh, who knows?
I think he'd have written some cracking songs.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
That's, when you think of Hendrix, most, again, too general, but a lot of people see guitar histrionics, burning guitars, all the sort of cliches we associate with him. But man, the guy was such a fantastic songwriter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really loved his voice, and it was the thing that he couldn't
like it,
stand.
yeah.
He hated his own voice, but no one else could do those songs.
Yeah.
I remember there's an interview with Paul McCartney when they went to see him, and Sgt. Pepper's came out the day before, and he played it live
He did.
that night.
Yeah.
And all the Beatles were there, like,
Yeah.
oh my
Oh my
god!
God.
And imagine him
Yeah.
with the Crank Marshals doing his version of Sgt. Pepper's. It's like
It was his first UK show,
just
wasn't it?
amazing.
Yeah.
Just
I always
amazing.
think of Clappo, there he is. Not much has happened in guitar for ages. Well, it has happened, but not in the way that it happened with Eric. Eric comes along, he's God. And, no one's touching him really. And then
Until
Jimmy
then.
walks in.
Boom.
It's like, hey, there's this golden eagle. Well, here's this whatever's bigger and more flashy than a golden eagle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tungsten albatross.
Yeah. Well, that's it, because it was unimaginable, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was entirely unimaginable how that could be. Anyway, thanks, Victor. If you look at all the artists from that generation, Clapton's a good example. Clapton's one of the very few who actually did anything of great worth after the glory days.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit rocky, but yeah, definitely. There was some good. Yeah, I mean.
Whose career just continued to.
Yeah. 461 Ocean Boulevard is a beautiful album.
Yeah.
I love that album.
And then, I don't know about nowadays, but, certainly in the 80s when he came back with Journeyman and all that, that was massive.
It was. Went to see him
Absolutely massive.
on his 96-day run at the Albert Hall.
Me too. We were probably there together, Marcus.
Yeah, probably sat next to you.
Yeah.
What was the
Bless him.
the soundtrack he did for that Mel Gibson film?
Blade Runner.
No.
Sorry, Blade Runner. Ooh, Edge of Darkness. That was Dire
No,
Straits.
Oh God, Edge of Darkness. No, that was a BBC thing that he did the soundtrack for. Wasn't
He
it?
did it,
Yeah,
did he?
yeah. About nuclear waste being transported on a train. Sorry, I've derailed your.
No. I just
Nice train and derail there. I like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Oh, I'm here all week. Try the steak.
G Barge, hello G. He says Jimmy was very high in trait openness. He would have remained outside orthodoxy. Yeah,
lethal weapon. Sorry.
That's kind of what Marcus was saying.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Jiminy Cricket says last gig at the UK Isle of Wight, you can hear Jimmy playing differently. All the scales, extra unusual vibes. He was moving always.
Yeah. Totally.
Nice. Nice. Eagle Ray Rob. Hello, Rob. How are you doing? He says, do either of you use the preamp on the Gig Rig 321 during the TPS episodes? Happy holidays.
Generally, no. We only ever use it if we're demonstrating the difference between output levels of guitars. But 99.9% of stuff, it's never on.
Before I changed the pickups in the Gretsch, my white Gretsch, I would use it sometimes because it was so impossibly quiet.
You generally do mention it though, if you do, don't you?
Oh yeah. We would always say if we were using it, because obviously it amplifies it a bit, but it buffers it a bit as well. Well, it buffers it, so that changes everything downstream. Yes. Zita Martin. Hey, you guys. She says. At least
Howdy.
one woman here from Germany.
Oh, fantastic.
Thanks, Zita.
Thank you for joining us.
It's one of the 2%.
Yeah, one of the 2%. Thank you for being one of the 2%. Be great if it was more than 2%. Scott Copeland. Red Dot Sound for 2021's Best Pedal.
Oh, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
There's an interesting conversation.
Oshino Grady. Nice to hear from you, mate. We haven't heard from you for a while. Hope you're doing okay. And Oshin says, hey guys, I rehearsed with my band for the first time in ages.
Nice.
And I found that in the room, the right level for the guitar is where you can barely hear it. Not enjoying that at all. I like it when you can barely hear anything else.
Move closer to the amp.
Yeah.
Maybe if you're talking about your reaction of your bandmates, point the amp up at you. Stand near the amp. All those things.
Actually, if it's when singing is happening, then I totally concur.
Yeah.
Totally.
Because you really do need to drop back a long way when there's singing happening.
Yeah.
Ideally.
Yeah. It's got to sound like, some sort of mix.
If they can sing, if not, a bit louder.
And sort of play along with the melody.
Or learn harmonies.
Yeah.
Connor Larkin. No question, just wishing you lads some very happy holidays.
Oh,
All the
bless
best.
you. Thank you, mate. That's very kind.
Thanks,
Thank
Connor.
you.
Jolly Willard. I've got buried modulation issues, he says. I'm having trouble hearing chorus and vibrato clearly in the live mix. The effect is beautiful on recordings. Any tips?
It's so interesting.
A bonus for Marcus. Any plans on a Reeves modulation pedal?
No. Not at this point. It's too complicated for how I do things. But never say never.
It'd be really interesting though. Yeah. So modulation is really interesting. My electric mistress, when I first heard that, changed everything for me, and then I put it on my pedal board for a gig, and then I kicked it in the middle of a song, and it pulled me out of the mix. It just dropped the volume just enough to pull me out of the mix. It depends on what the pedal is doing. A lot of it is a phase relationship between the two signals that are modulating. So if you've got your flange or your phaser or your chorus, where you're creating a phase relationship between your normal signal and a modulated signal, and sometimes that can thin the bottom end out, and so it'll alter the phase in certain frequencies, and that modulates. It's not necessarily so. Like you said, when it's recorded, it sounds great, but you perceive it as a volume drop, and it's a psychoacoustic effect. So sometimes, and some manufacturers do it, where when you kick on the modulation, you'll actually hear
get a
it a bit,
boost.
get a bit louder.
Yeah.
So that doesn't happen. And some pedals actually have a little gain control circuit in there, which is basically, varying a resistor on an op amp.
Harmonic Monk.
Yeah, totally. So it was really important that we had the ability to not only mix in the modulation, but to control the level, because depending on what you're doing, that modulation effect can either, drop you out just enough to pull you out of the mix. Look, one thing we did today with the chorus pedal, when we had a really slow, low depth chorus.
Yeah. We were looking specifically at clean sounds for those of you who really like clean sounds. And video we made today, which will go out in a few weeks.
Yeah, and it sounds amazing. But what you do here is it does thin things out. That really tight slow modulation, but it sounds wonderful. So, yeah, the only solve for that is find a way to boost at the same time.
Yeah,
unless the pedal that you've got is you've got the option to increase the gain.
And then what can happen as a result of that is if you're running the modulation quite, with plenty of modulation and you're boosting it, then it can get soupy and kind of take over everything. And our solve for that is wet dry. So if you've got the option to use two small amps and just make one of them really wet and one of them really dry, I find that just you can't not hear it at that point, because you get the stereo effect of the two sources, even though it's not stereo.
I think modulation into one amp, or if you're modulating into something, you're giving it some beans into either a pedal or an amp that's on the edge of headroom. What also you can find is that the modulation, because it's being clipped as it hits, the modulation is getting less wide. So you might find an EQ sweep, but your volume or your whatever the modulation is doing is being reduced, because it's not being able to do that. It's just doing that as well. So you find it gets smaller.
Yeah. So there's a question, Jolly. Where are your chorus and vibrato pedals in relation to your overdrives? Because if they're before, try them after, and then you'll hear more of the modulation.
Possibly if you've got an effects loop, try it in effects loop and see. But that could be a whole
other
can
set
of
of
worms
problems
with all sorts of things. But try it.
Experiment with order.
Yeah.
Definitely experiment with order, and effects loop is a natural extension of that. So, Keith Friedman. Hello, Keith. Morning from AZ, Arizona, Legends. Any chance y'all are familiar with the festive Trans-Siberian Orchestra? Their tones and Christmas jams are superb.
Oh.
I have heard of the Trans-Siberian Orchestra because one of the people who plays for them was on Desert Island Discs on Radio 4.
Yeah, I heard of them as well.
Yeah.
That's new to me.
We'll check them out. Maybe we'll have a listen tonight, Keith. Thanks for the heads up. Tony Davis. Tony, we've got a super chat from you, but there's no question, so I'll keep an eye on my device. Steve Harvey. Hello, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Steve's an old friend. Well, he's not old, but I've known him for a long time. Legends, thank you. I've recently moved to a Hot Rod Deluxe from my Boogie Mark V.
Wow.
Ooh, that's a jump.
No need for 3 channels anymore. I've now learned how to get the best out of my ever expanding pedal board, and I'm loving it. Cheers,
amazing. Steve. Oh, well done, Steve. That's awesome.
I hope Steve won't mind us mentioning. Steve works for Martin Guitars and used to be a journalist like me. That's how we know one another. And journalist. And he came in one day and he wanted some advice on how to get the best out of his Mark V, and we just ended up going into the clean channel with a bunch of pedals. And it was
sounded great.
Okay.
Yeah, right.
Not to say that you can't get great options out of all those channels in the Mark V, but for what Steve particularly wanted to do, this was a much more simple
I've never got on
route.
with multi-channel amps.
It always feels like a compromise to me.
Yeah.
I always like one of the channels and dislike the other one.
Not that they're a bad thing. You know, some people love them, but it just doesn't work for what I do.
Yeah, that said, I had a Mark III Boogie for ages, and I used that in the 3 modes.
Right, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, courses. Nice to hear from you, Steve. Merry Christmas, mate. Hope you're doing well. Cinnamon Street 80s Band. Hi, guys. Dave Bone here. Hello, Dave. I play in an 80s tribute band called Cinnamon Street. Thanks for tips on picks. I recently changed to a Dunlop Primetone 1.5 and I haven't looked back. It's made a big difference to my tone.
Very good.
Nice. Please check out Cinnamon Street, Dave's band.
Excellent. Oh, another Dave. Dave Friedman's birthday today. So
Is it?
happy birthday,
Happy
Mr.
birthday,
Friedman.
It's all about Friedman's.
Yeah.
I've been on a bit of a pick journey, actually.
Have you?
Yeah, I always used thumb picks. I always used to use a thumb pick for about 10 years. And just because of the blues thing, really, to be honest, as I mentioned before, I was in a kind of hobo blues band and that worked really well for that kind of slidey stuff. And getting back into rehearsals, we've got a new bass player, back into rehearsals with this current setup that I've got, and it's a lot louder, and I've been giving it beans and breaking strings with this thumb pick, obviously, because they're just like a hook.
Yeah.
And I've gone back to flat pick after, oh God, probably a decade.
Well,
Right.
Wow.
And the first rehearsal, I was actually scared. I was like, oh, I'd given it a little bit on the acoustic, but I thought, no, I'm just going to wait till I get in the room. And muscle memory is an absolutely amazing thing.
well,
I was straight back there, and it was like, wow.
no way.
Man.
You
Absolutely.
hadn't used a flat pick in all that time.
No,
Amazing.
Wow.
completely. And just,
Cough.
woof. And it made such a difference to the way I played and the amount of cut that I had.
Yeah, right. We
Just
talked
because
about that.
it was, you had so much more.
Yeah,
You got that 360-degree thing, whereas with a thumb pick, it's kind of, one-dimensional, really.
yeah. We talked about that today in the Clean Sound show.
Yeah.
One of the items was just use the natural compressor you were born with.
Mm.
And it was pretty interesting,
It was
wasn't it?
fascinating.
Pretty interesting.
I've always been on Mick about Mick's right hand is amazing, and he's so clean with the way that he picks, and I find it really hard to duplicate. So we went through a bit of that today. It's really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's even harder when you're trying to explain it and do it.
Yeah. RD says, Ron here, checking in from jury duty.
Hello, Ron.
So
Hope it's
don't
all
want
going
to
well.
influence your
Guilty.
decision in any way, but definitely guilty.
Yeah,
Throw the book at him.
we've probably just completely ruined the case, haven't we? As we all laughed at this probably very serious work that Ron is doing. Yeah, guilty. Guitar Moog. Sorry, it's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. It's very serious work. Have you ever done it?
Yes,
No.
long
Have you?
time ago. Yeah,
Yeah, I haven't.
yeah.
I haven't.
No,
It was-
I've
yeah.
come up with ways to get out of it if it
Yeah.
ever happens, but I have never been picked yet.
It was-
Committing more crimes, that sort of way.
I just think when they're talking to you, when they're selecting you, just a lot of winking every now and then.
Yeah.
Just, you know,
It was just,
I think that'll do it.
Yeah.
Guitar Moog. Salut from Brussels. Salut. Cracking show last week. Could you do a similar one with fuzz pedals into different amps and gain levels? It would be fascinating.
We've done a couple of those, I think.
We
haven't
totally could. I mean, we certainly have covered that territory before, but to do it specifically and to try and be a bit more on with it would be good.
Yeah.
It's a huge area though, because fuzzes, more than any other pedal, I think, react differently to a different guitar and a different amp. You can have the same pedal, same settings, put it into a clean amp or a dirty amp, a humbuckers or single coils, and it will be utterly different, unrecognisable. And I think that's the challenge people get with fuzzes, and very often people put off fuzzes because their first contact is just off-putting and doesn't work for what they, and I think that's what fuzz is. I can't be
I
doing
don't
that.
want that.
Yeah. I think
You know.
but even people get into them sort of maybe too early in their journey
Yeah,
without really understanding dynamics and that sort of stuff yet.
Well, you say that. I mean, I think we've played enough fuzz pedals now to say we have a pretty decent understanding of them. But when we had our experience day, I loaded my board up with a bunch of pedals and I tried 5 different fuzzes and I just didn't like any of them that day. And I don't know why that was. Just something wasn't happening.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are a finicky thing, aren't they?
They really
you
are.
You must get that. How many? when people buy pedals from you, are they confused about which one they should buy?
I try and answer the questions really. People ask quite specific questions, and if they don't, I'll kind of go overboard on my answer about which fuzz works best for what. But because what at the moment the fuzzes I make are quite distinct and different from each other. They are very different characters, so people generally ask me. You
don't do 27 versions of a fuzz face like Mike does.
No. What's the best for cleanup? What's the best for gating? What's the best? That's generally the question I get, and I'm like, okay, you want gating? You want the red dot sound? You want something fat and gnarly? You want black hat? If you want something that cleans up, and so on. So
hitting a mast intruder.
Yes, that would be the big box black hat sound.
Yeah. Foolish Deep says, "Hey, Mick and Dan, you two are my heroes. Do you think you could get Dominic Miller on the show someday? I'd love to get Dominic on.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
He's not bringing his mate, though. Rick Beato's been there, done that.
He has done that.
It would be great to talk to Dominic, actually.
You must have interviewed him before.
I haven't personally, but I have presided over numerous interviews with him.
Right.
Yeah, Sting, played for Sting, presumably does lots of stuff, but is best known for doing Sting. Mr. Sting.
Who isn't?
If you've never seen Vic and Bob's interview with Sting, when they get him to sit on his
canny, I've forgotten about that
canny looking chair. Mr. Sting, could you sit on a canny looking chair?
Yeah. Stop starting and start stopping.
And he sits on the chair. It's made of matchsticks and it breaks. It's the most predictable thing in the world. Hilarious.
I was an absolute avid of Rick and Bob.
Yeah, me
at
too.
one point, just completely the Stott brothers.
What's on the end of the stick, Vic?
Yeah.
Anyway, if you don't know, Vic Reeves, Bob Mortimer.
Big Night Out.
Yeah.
Google it.
Yeah.
Shooting
Stars. Remember Shooting Stars? That's where Matt Lucas.
That's that one. Yeah.
Anyway, sorry.
Anyway, next.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I'm playing in a venue on Thursday that has the Dove from Above over the stage.
No way.
Fantastic.
Yep. Where is that?
Get in Leicester, called the Sound House. Yeah, we do that regularly at a gig. Come out.
Dan Cobley. Hello, anyway. Dan. He says, "Hey, I asked my girlfriend to marry this weekend, and she said yes."
Well done.
Congratulations, mate. That's amazing.
Yeah.
He says, "Don't suppose you could give Mark Knopfler a quick call and see if he could congratulate me?" Mick, are you regretting starting this gag yet? Oh, I see what's going on.
Let me give him a call.
I do. I just need to nip out for to get a cigarette.
It's ringing. Hello, Mark.
How Danny Canny lad? How's it going, Lick? It's Mark Knopfler here from the tune. From the famous band Dire Straits, Lick, Insulting of swing I am today. Anyway, what can I do for you, old pal?
We've got a young lad who's just become engaged. Do you have any advice for him?
Nobly Dan Cobley, isn't it? Think he's getting married to his wee girlfriend there. Canny lass she is. Met her once, doing a big market. She's bought us a pint of mild. Anyway, congratulations, Dan. Hope you have a lovely day. And didn't play any Dire Straits, otherwise I'll slap you with a copyright bill. I read, mate. See you, Canny Danny lad.
Cheers, mate. Thank you. I really appreciate it. You be good. Talk to you soon. You missed it.
What did I miss?
You missed Mark Knopfler.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he called.
How is he?
He's good. He's really good. He sends his love.
They're very complimentary about you.
Was he?
Mm. No.
I was listening to Communique this week. I've got it in vinyl. I really like it.
I've got a bit of a love-hate relationship with Dire Straits because they weren't a band that were cool to like when I was at school.
Right.
The school that I was at, and kind of that goes in. It's like your sponge, isn't it? Your first things that go in stick in your brain, and but I do listen to them and go, yeah, that's all right. That.
I hadn't realised there's so much that little things that I play all the time. And I, when people say who's your favourite guitar player, and I always say Stevie Ray and Eric Clapton. I used to listen to loads, and all the people that I love. And I never mention Knopfler, and he is so
He's in there.
Such a dynamic player, isn't he?
RS2KR says, well, Mark Knopfler really sounds like Matthias Sasato.
They grew up in the same neighbourhood.
They did.
Not a lot of people know that.
No.
Yeah, and Billy Gibbons.
Billy Gibbons.
All school friends. Yeah. Doing the pearly gits. Anyway. Congrats, Dan.
That's awesome, mate.
And the future Mrs. Dan. Or the future Mr. whatever her name is. Ian Fan, legs. I bought a Martin Rhodes series, which I've longed after forever. The strings on my fingers cause a lot of squeaking. Any ideas on lessening that?
Stringies, what's it called? The
Fast fret.
Fast fret.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at the string material. I don't know what the Rhodes series come with. There's various compounds of strings for acoustic guitars. So the squeakiest ones are the bronzest ones.
Yeah.
The less squeaky ones are the phosphor bronze ones. In addition to that, you can get coated strings, and coated strings are many and various. I'm a big fan of D'Addario EXPs. They're quite expensive, but they have a coating on them which gives you some of that finger noise, but not all of it. You can then... I don't even know if Elixir still do them, but Elixir's first... Yeah, they do a nano coat.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Right.
And then they do like a whole coat. And I don't know if they still do the whole coat.
Right.
Oh.
And the whole coat... So it used to be that they coat the whole string, then they just coat the wrap wire. And if they coat the whole string, you get almost none of that. Finally, check out a string called Monel, which is a nickel alloy instead of a brass type alloy. Monel's used by lots of mandolin players. They're also used in bluegrass.
Oh, cool.
And it looks like an electric guitar string, but it isn't. It's a nickel alloy for acoustic guitars. And they are really, really nice. They start off kind of bright, they go off immediately, and they stay there for a long time. I'm a big fan of Monel strings.
Oh, wow.
So try those. Look at the different compounds of the string wrap material, because that's what's giving you your biggest squeak probably. Try coated, try Monels, and see if that helps.
It's an interesting thing. When I was studying music, and I was in a dorm with a bunch of classical guitarists, and it's really, you hear it in the classical guitar, it's
a lot.
Really, really hard to get rid of. And they're doing those, these massive changes everywhere. And
Doing
it's like hearing, it's like hearing a Grandmaster Flash in the background.
Yeah, scratching.
Yeah.
Do you like scratching?
Yeah, I mean, the other thing to say is it is an essential part of the acoustic guitar sound, so you don't want to get rid of all of it.
I was about to say, one other side of it is embrace it as well. Listen to some of your favourite fingerstyle guitarists carefully, and you will be quite surprised how much finger noise there is actually on the recordings.
Is it Tom Morello?
Yeah. Somebody like... his name escapes me now.
John Martin, Preston Reed, Adrian Legg.
The chap you had on here. John Smith. John Smith, absolutely. I listened to, you put me right onto John Smith, actually.
He is amazing.
A week doesn't go past that I don't listen to him.
John Smith.
But a lot of finger noise on his guitars. And also, it is also about technique as well, as you were alluding to, that, it's part of your playing as well. So if you could, as well as look at strings, maybe look at practicing that part of your technique to reduce it as well. Yeah, it's
the thing none of us want to face, isn't it?
Jiminy Cricket says, "Oh, I see. Talking about string theory now, is it? You guys really do satisfy all my YouTube needs."
String theory, yeah.
Brian Barrett, hello, Brian. No question from you, so hopefully maybe we'll see one in a while. But thanks for the super chat. Damani Johnson. I can't stay, but I just had to thank Marcus. I have the 2 and 2, the red dot, black dot, and the 108 master, which has become a vital part of my sound.
Wow!
Thank you very much.
Says
amazing.
Damani Johnson.
I have to say, I'm quite astounded that there are people that I've got quite a few customers that pretty much got the full set, and it blows my mind. So thank you, everybody. Yeah.
It is
Nothing I can say about that, really.
quite the thing. I would imagine it's a similar sort of feeling that we get when we have a lot of very loyal people that watch the show and buy stuff from the pedal show store, and it does. It's pretty humbling, isn't it?
It is.
That
very,
people are willing to
very.
sort of offer the two most valuable things they have in your direction: time and money.
Do you have a daughter named Ella?
I do.
She said, "Hi, Dad."
Oh, hello, lovely. I thought you were working today.
Hello, Ella. Your dad's on the telly, almost.
Oh.
So I've got this question, Marcus. I think you're the man to answer this.
Yep.
It is from Brad Jackson. Hello, Brad. And Brad says, "I've got this rash." No.
Yeah.
He says,
I know all about that.
He says, "Hi all, could you please discuss the Burns buzz around? What's the circuit like? Is it most similar to a tone bender or something else?"
The Burns buzz around. Now, I'm in a private chat group with a lot of really hardcore fuzz builders, so if I get this wrong, I'm going to get lynched.
Now, about that rash, you were saying.
Yes, yeah. I believe it's a Zonk Mark 1E Zonk machine kind of variant that is quite. It's similar in tone to the Maestro FZ1, so it's very buzzy, very bumblebee. That's off the top of my head. I might be wrong, actually. Might be worth a Google.
I just Googled it, and it says 1965 Burns buzz around. Now, this is interesting, right? Because the history of the Maestro FZ 1A or 1, it turns up in 1965, and it's that sound you hear on loads of records from, most famously Satisfaction, but also loads of other records from the period. And every person involved in electronics manufacture for electric guitar, given that it was a boom time for that, goes, wow, we've got to make one of those.
Yeah.
So what happens? Solar Sound make the tone bender, that morphs into the fuzz face. Around all of that, grow all of these variants on that circuit from various different manufacturers. Marshall Super Fuzz, Vox did one, everyone did one. Up north, John Hornby Skews and Co. did the Zonk machine, which he just mentioned. So the buzz around, here we are, Burns, right? Burns of London, 1965. Surprise, surprise. Obviously inspired by what's everything that's going on. This information I'm reading here says 3 NKT 213 transistors. So 3 germanium transistors.
Yeah.
And a timbre control, which gives different dimensions to your fuzz tone. So it had an extra knobber
Like
on
a
it.
tone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Now,
That sounds FZ1.
I have the pig.
No.
I have the pig dog version,
rumour has
and
it
it's
that
epic.
some of those pedals that we've just talked about will be resurfacing next year.
Oh, interesting.
At least 2 of the ones we've just mentioned will be resurfacing next year.
Wow.
And I can guess where.
Yep. So more on that to come, I think, is the best way to say that, Brad. Yeah. Ever played one? Can you remember?
What, a buzz around?
Yeah.
Not to my knowledge. No.
Has it got anything to do with that thing that Jack White uses? Up there somewhere? The Bumble Buzz? Or is that something different?
No, that's different.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
we'll have to compare it to your Zonk machine, but it's very zonky.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we're going to be talking about some of those things very specifically in the new year. Plexico. Hey, D&M. Please tell us how you gauge... DM and M, he says. Thank you, Plexico. Please tell us how you gauge NOS transistors and parts. Happy holidays.
Haha. It's a secret. No, please do
Voodoo.
tell.
It's voodoo. You need a full moon and a chicken leg. No, so It's pretty. You need obviously there's a couple of testers, a transistor tester that tells you the gain on a transistor, which is basically you could equate it to the cubic capacity of an engine, basically. So the more.
I think the underpants analogy is quite good.
Yeah.
You got your gain and your leakage, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And it's more about trial and error, to be honest, because an experience, once you know what works, you just kind of test it and say, oh, those figures in my head make sense. I'll put that in the A pile, basically.
What's your percentage pass rate?
Well, on transistors, it really, really depends. For the Black Hat sound, it's about 10%.
Right.
Because I'm very specific about the HFE on those.
Mm-hmm.
For the Red Dot sound, I've been lucky enough to get a load of pre-graded.
Oh wow!
I actually I bought them by weight. There were that many of them.
Wow.
So yeah, and they're all. That's why they're Red Dot sound, because the Red Dot means they've been graded. So I can literally. Yeah. And some fat back resistors. That is a great tune. Yeah.
Memphis Soul Stew. Just
Memphis
in
Soul
case
Stew. Yeah.
you're wondering.
By Memphis. Oh God, who was it?
I don't know.
I can't remember. Anyway, where were we? Yeah. So. Yeah, the pass rate can be high, can be really low. It depends on where
King
you get
Curtis and the Kingpins.
That's right. Yeah. Bit of a scattergun answer there, really. There's no real principle to it. I think it's just a case of knowing what you want and knowing what works.
No,
and that only comes with experience.
And having used enough of them to know what you want.
But you're exactly. Testing for gain and leakage, are you? Is that what you're testing for?
Well, I predominantly use silicon.
Right.
So I don't have the issue with leakage,
yeah.
Which does take a lot. I'll be honest with you, it takes a lot of the wizardry out of it. The bit that I do that takes the time is right at the beginning when I design the circuit.
Yeah.
And once I've got that absolutely down pat, it's pretty repeatable.
Because you'll know the spec of the transistors you need.
Yeah, absolutely. Whereas with germanium transistors, because the leakage varies so much across them, and it's very, very difficult to get two germanium transistors with the same gain and the same leakage, and be able to base a range on that. You have to bias every unit individually.
Interesting. Paul Matulovic has said the Burns is like a Mark 1 with pots for biasing each transistor, more or less.
That sounds pretty sexy.
That would make sense. Yeah.
That sounds sexy.
Yeah.
Nice.
They're probably a very limited bias, I would think.
Yeah.
Probably not a wide sweep, as you just end up getting like, I can't get anything out of this. Yeah.
Back to my BBC Sounds podcasts, I've heard a new take on bias, a really, really clever way of thinking about bias. Mm-hmm. Which is not bias in transistors, but a bias, having a bias towards something.
Yeah.
Motivated cognition.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, we'll come back to that at a later date.
Very good.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
very
that
good.
Makes sense. Yeah.
Tim Good. Timmy be good. He says, leg ends. I had 2 gigs on the weekend. Same rig both nights, different venues. I think we know what's coming. First night it sounded great and inspiring. Second night it was a struggle to get my sound right. Any clues what happened there?
Oh, man. It's so interesting.
Before we move on, we can all relate.
Yes.
This is not unusual.
Yep. I used to have different amps for different venues that I played in, because I played these venues so often, and I would have I knew my AC30 on its own at the Walkabout in it's a place in North London. So that's a W.
Ding Dangalong.
Ding Dangalong, and it sounded epic in that room. The Walkabout at Shepherd's Bush, it was the AC30 and my AC10 twin together at the at the Walkabout in not Acton,
Dan
Temple.
Dan only does gigs in Australian theme pubs.
Exactly.
Yeah, just so he can feel at
But
home.
but these are gigs I used to do all the time. And
Yeah.
I got to know the sound of the room, and I'd experimented enough with each venue, so it's fascinating. The sound of the room is such a massive part of the way how everything sounds. Then it changes when people come in, and then it changes with humidity, and then it changes with temperature. It all plays a part.
Yeah.
And then it changes with how you feel. If you've got a cold, if you're in a great mood, if you're feeling confident, if something's happened and you're tired and whatever the next day, it all plays a part.
I think that the ambient sound of the room thing is such a big deal.
It's
It
a
is,
massive,
yeah, absolutely.
massive
Because what
thing.
you're hearing is not just what comes out the speakers. You're hearing the reflections of every hard surface and absorption of soft surfaces, and indeed reflection and absorption of medium surfaces in that place, which is a very overly complex way of saying you're hearing the room. And the prominence of frequencies within that will depend on what that room is, what it's made of, everything he just said about
Standing
people
room,
being
standing
in.
waves. Yeah.
And how loud you play.
Yeah.
Probably, the louder you play, the more those problems are going to manifest.
Yeah.
So how loud do you play?
Not super loud. Cranked Tweed Deluxe. Yeah, kind of loud.
Feeling it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Plenty. Yeah,
Do you get
yeah.
that from room to room, from gig to gig?
Yeah, completely. Yeah, sometimes it's just like, where's my amp?
Yeah.
The probably one of the most fail safes that I can say is, if you can consistently get your amp up against a wall, it will probably help towards it being consistent.
That's a really good shout.
Yeah.
That is really great. So where your amp is positioned is a massive deal. If it's in a corner,
Yeah.
if it's, as he says, against a wall or off a wall or off a side wall or a back wall, what it's on as well. So if you're on a big wooden stage with loads of, or even a small wooden stage, you're going to get quite a lot of extra bass response, because that's going to be rumbling around that big wooden box like a subwoofer almost. So one of the things you might be able to do is get a little stand, and that will help isolate it from whatever you're standing it on, and you can get to more of a standard, if you like. Might not be the best sound in the whole world, but it might make it more consistent.
We did a gig for the Young Farmers Association.
Ooh.
And we
Those
turned
gigs
up
are
to
horror shows.
They are really, really tough.
They
we
do
turned
potato
up-
throwing?
We not far off it. So we turned up, did the sound check, and the sound check was really loud. And then AC30 was there, and I was giving it some. And then we went away, had some food, and then come back, and it was rammed full of the drunkest people I have ever seen in my life. And it was so loud in there, I couldn't hear a thing.
Wow.
And the AC30 cranked nowhere else to go, could hardly hear it.
Wow, that is funny how that happens sometimes.
Yeah. And so just the ambient noise of everyone in their frivolity was enough to drown out a loud band.
The drunkest, highest yield audience.
Yeah. Cool. I've been to a few Young Farmers do's, and it is a drink fest, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They know how to let loose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And farmers have a kind of no. Oh, never mind. Yeah.
We're on a farm here,
Yeah.
and
They have a honk in their voice.
yeah,
Which,
Really?
Yeah, right on the nose. 1K.
get off my land.
Kill it all. Yeah.
Jeff Harper, hello Jeff. I just ordered a Nobles ODR 1 mini and should have it by the end of the week.
Excellent.
Can't wait.
Good call.
Thanks
Well
for all
done.
your shows. Hope you
I
enjoy
need to
that.
try one of those out. Actually, It's not something I've experienced.
We can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, they're fun.
I'm not a big overdrive user actually. I'd kind of the other side from you guys. I'd kind of use a gainy-ish amp. So I've got a broadcast that I kind of push into that, because it's
Such a great thing, isn't it?
just crazy. I mean, even into like a moderately broken up Tweed Deluxe, it just adds so much texture.
Yeah.
It's I'm speechless about them. They are a good
We had a clean sound today. We were doing clean sounds in the video this morning, and with no overdrive, we were getting feedback.
Nice.
Like not.
Was that with the casino?
Not
No.
not body uncontrolled feedback. Actual harmonic feedback off a note on an electric
Lovely.
guitar. It was quite amazing.
Magic.
Quite amazing. Sorry, he was talking about harmonic richness, and
Yeah.
that's what it is. Neil Kearney. Hello, Neil. No question from you. Thanks for your super chat. I'll just check. Sorry if we've missed you. We will get to you at some point. David Broche, or David Broch, or David Brocker, or David Bross. I'm going to say Broche. Hello, David. Cheers, mates. Thanks for a great year of videos and streams. I learned a lot. Merry Christmas.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Very much.
I think it's fair to say we've learned a lot as well, isn't it?
It's been fascinating.
That we get a lot of very kind comments of people saying, thanks for all your knowledge and everything. It's a learning curve as much for us.
Yeah, totally.
You'll never stop with. Just look at the amount of knobs there are to twiddle. You're never going to get to the end of working out what every one of those does, are you?
No.
So just keep on keeping on.
And it's just as you get to a point of thinking, I think I've understood most of this now. It's like, oh wow.
And then you find the Noble's ODR1. It is never ending.
G Barge, LOG. He says, love your choice in guests recently.
Yeah, sorry to let side down.
Also love to open the case and smell the braces and Adirondack top of my acoustic.
Excellent.
What are your favourite sensory boosts other than tone alone? Happy holidays all.
Soda smoke. Every day.
It's tricky.
There is a certain smell that Fender amps of a certain period
Cooking.
have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Thanks,
are
BB.
we allowed to say old guitars, or is that too close to?
Yeah, a lot of people think the smell of old guitars is nitrocellulose lacquer. It's not. It's the glue in the case more often than
Right.
not.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I just think, guitars that you've gigged with personally and there's just they get a smell about them,
Yeah.
That's your
which
pheromone,
is
isn't it?
really lovely.
Yeah.
I love the smell of my own pheromone.
Yeah,
It gets me going.
I quite like Lyman Bay by the White Company.
I've started making your gin drink,
Oh, nice.
Ooh.
and everyone loves the smell of that because I've started, passing me like it's a little something I knocked up earlier, and it's so good.
What was it again?
It's it's an orange peel,
Yeah.
and you've got
For the
to
zest.
squeeze. Yeah, but it's not just you don't throw the peel in. You got to squeeze it and get a little bit of the, when you get the orange peel in your eye, that
Ooh.
stuff.
Yeah.
You squeeze that in there. Bit of ginger,
Ginger, that was it.
the ginger, 4 peppercorns,
Yeah.
and then you let it seep in with the gin. Then you add the ice, and then you put the mixer in.
I
and
bought
it's-
this fancy ass Japanese gin, and I was reading on what the botanicals were in it, and it suggested pepper and ginger, and I thought, well, that's interesting.
Try that.
Anyway,
So
we
good.
made one, didn't we? Yeah.
So good.
Myself and Sarah have been smashing the cocktails recently. Well, not smashing the cocktails. yeah, I'd say. And we've gone right back to the classics.
Yeah.
Cosmopolitans.
Yeah.
I can't even remember them. Cosmopolitans.
I'm a big martini fan. Gin
yeah.
martini.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty heavy
Yeah,
going.
it's very
but-
powerful.
Yeah.
We're gearing up for a proper Long Island iced tea. I think sometime next weekend, because the ones you go out to a bar, they're not the.
It's white lightning on ice.
It is.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
insane.
We
So,
should make some up.
Yeah,
The one-legged underbiased.
we've actually got some
Ah.
old school.
Building a fuzz face on a hangover. There's a show.
It's happening
no,
tomorrow.
don't.
It's happening
Brilliant.
Yeah. Just to finish that off, we've got some original 1970s baby sham cocktail glasses that we use as well, and
get
they're
on.
just so insanely kitsch next to the neon flamingo on the cocktail bar. Anyway, that's not anything to do with me.
Remember the ad?
Oh yeah, I'll have a baby sham.
I have
It was
no
made
idea
down
what
the
you guys
road.
are talking about.
Baby Sham was made down the road, and the deer, the small prancing deer, Was on top of the Shepton Mallet factory.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did
Yeah.
you watch what's the one about the ad guy?
Mad Men.
Matt, did you watch Mad Men?
We got bored.
Okay.
Yeah.
We loved it, and I got into old fashions.
Yeah.
'Cause they
they were always drinking, weren't they?
He just looked like he was having so much fun when he drank those.
Brilliant.
Happy holidays, G, and thank you.
Yeah, cheers, G.
Thank you for always being here, mate. We really appreciate it. Dave, thanks for answering my question on Friday. Can you talk about the interaction of master volume with a dynamic load? So, like a Captor X, for example, in terms of headroom. Yeah, Dave, I think I answered you in the comments. So Dave's saying, add your reactive load attenuator to your amp. And my assertion, I think, was that if you've got your amp set set in a certain way and you're enjoying a certain amount of clean headroom, the minute you add an attenuator, it always seems to overdrive more to me. Because it should be the same sound, but just quieter, right? But to me, it always seems like it's overdriving more. And I guess there shouldn't be anything that surprising about that, because you're asking everything to do more work, aren't you? By attenuating it, or are you not?
Well,
You're changing the impedance relationship.
if you put the attenuator, if you don't touch anything else, and you put the attenuator in, and dial that down, are we still going into the same speaker cab?
Everything is the same. You just add the attenuator.
Right.
Or in the case of the Captor X, I guess you could have a direct feed off as well.
Yeah. Well, I think the power amp section, everything's going to be that's changing the way that's being loaded, and he's going to be working harder.
That's it.
So, and you're getting more harmonics and that sort of stuff, and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because the now let's see, the whole point of it being a reactive load is that impedance changes with frequency.
Yes.
So therefore, but I guess the logic is all you're doing is the amp is chucking the same thing out the speaker cable that it would have been doing if it was just the speaker. So there shouldn't be any difference.
Yeah, but the reactive load changes from speaker to speaker as well.
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, with the UA one, we know that reactive load is based around a
Deluxe reverb.
Deluxe
transformer.
Mm.
Yeah.
So, and it's different.
Yeah.
It's a different thing than you going between your Marshall and your 4x12. Even though those cabinets, those impulse responses are in there, the actual physics of the reactive load is different.
Do you ever use them?
I've tried. If you've got nothing to say, well, I've got nothing to say about them.
You're not a fan?
Not a
Yeah,
fan.
yeah. I'm not actually. And I think
the art of a good attenuator, as Dan said, is how it deals with the changing impedance versus the output. And
It's a hard thing to get right.
Yeah, exactly.
Really, really
I don't think I haven't tried the Ox yet, and I know a lot of people whose views I trust say it is a thing. But yeah, I can't get on with them.
I wonder if it could be something as prosaic as everything's got quieter, I need to hit my guitar harder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What we experienced today, right, when the amp was really loud, and I struggled with the clean thing, and that was you sort of on it because you got so much more control in your right hand.
Well, I'm also playing a Strat, not a telly.
True.
The telly's like,
Transient.
hello, I'm here.
Yeah.
True. But now imagine me on that sound. As soon as that gets attenuated and turned down,
Yeah.
I'm
You're
Breaking
in.
strings.
I'm there.
Yeah.
So that's definitely a part of it.
Interesting.
I think it's also about expectation. We've all probably gigged very, very loud and loved it. And that's our kind of benchmark. If we regularly gigged hard and loud, that's where we feel it.
Yeah.
I think if you've come from playing in your apartment or playing more quietly and you've never, as something you've mentioned a lot, you've never played loud, an attenuated sound might be something that gives you the
Gives you
feels.
the feel, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
because
I think that's
it's
very- I
not
think that's
something.
right.
There's a thing about you cross a border and you never in all parts of life, when you kind of cross a certain threshold, you never really can come back from it. And I think that happens with guitar volume, in that if you get the feels from playing your two rock, and you're never going to be the same again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know,
there is an element of that. There is an element of that. And that I think that's not just doing it once and really liking it. I think
No.
it's
Learned behaviour.
having to do it
Yeah.
night after night after night after night, month after month, year after year, year after year, and it just becomes the norm. So it is learned behaviour, as
Yeah.
you say.
Yeah.
Unexpected result.
It doesn't make any one attenuator good or bad. It's just, I think, how we, as a player,
Yeah.
Yeah.
experience it.
So I
You know.
think the thing to say, Dave, is probably if you're coming to that setup expecting exactly the same result through your attenuator into your interface, or however it is you're using it, it probably is more helpful to go, well, this is necessarily going to be different, therefore I shouldn't really be worried about changing things, changing the settings on the amp, changing whatever I need to change in order to get to the place where I'm happy. So expecting it to be exactly the same is probably the bit that's causing you the most
Yeah.
trouble.
And it also depends whether you're going direct or through the speaker.
Yeah.
Because obviously, if you're using your speaker for the attenuated sound, it's going to be vastly different, because that
Yeah.
speaker's just going to be kind of sitting there
Yeah.
instead of rah.
Yeah.
So
There we are.
it's lots of variables.
Filter Champ from Australia. Mr. Reeves. Good day from Melbourne, Australia.
G'day.
He says, any tips or sources for pedal circuit diagrams to start dabbling with?
Oh, straight away. I would go to Tagboard Effects. It's a community-run website, and it just has thousands and thousands and thousands of layouts, and also great threads with those layouts of people troubleshooting, and the mods going in and explaining, why those troubleshooting, why those things are happening, what your workarounds are. If you just, I think we can get I can't remember the exact. Guitar FX layouts, it's called. Sorry, yeah. It's an absolutely insanely good.
The URL is tagboardeffects.blogspot.com.
Yeah.
Tagboardeffects.blogspot.com.
It's where most of my contemporaries kind of paid their dues. Yeah, cut their teeth.
And
Yeah,
what's a good circuit to start with, would you say?
I would probably say some kind of simple boost like the LPB1, or the Rangemaster, or a fuzz face. They're all based roughly around the same topology anyway, and they've just got kind of little different bits bolted around them. So just a simple boost. LPB1 is probably a great start, because it's easy to build, and you'll plug it in and go, holy crap, this sounds great.
I have made fire.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
exactly. Yeah.
I've
So
seen
it's
the
always
sun
good
for
to
the
get a
first
really good
time.
kick off, when you're trying to do something. So, but I would say, we'll probably do a bit more about this tomorrow, because we're doing, brush up on your soldering first. Do some practice stuff that doesn't need to be used, just to get your soldering right, because that's where so many people fall down building their own pedals. Yeah.
Daryl Robinson. Hello, Daryl. He says, hello from Florida. I've been playing a Strat for years, but I'm looking to add a telly. What is your opinion on the American original 50s tellies and 60s and the newer Ultra Lux line? American Originals is what vintage reissue American Nitro finished Fender now is. They're not as vintage specific as the last lot. Really nice guitars. You don't say what your Strat is. I don't know if you've got like a modern Strat or a more vintagey type Strat. If you've got a more vintagey type Strat, chances are you're going to like a more vintagey type telly, in which case go for the American Original type. The Ultra Lux do things like add a conical radius fingerboard, so 10 to 14 inch radius board, noiseless pickups, slimmer necks. They won't. I would imagine they're probably not nitrocellulose finish. I don't know. And they'll have things like sculpted heels probably, and all that stuff that takes that ancient design and makes it more modern.
So it's a telly-shaped guitar.
Well, depending on the kind of Strat you play, you might like the more modern take to it or the more vintagey take to it. Actually, the modern American originals aren't that vintage specific as they used to be, but certainly don't have things like noiseless pickups. I've got a feeling the American originals might even be a 9.5-inch radius board.
They were the American originals, and then we became the new originals, and then they left, and we just went back to the originals, and then shark sandwich.
If you can, I know it's difficult in these times, but just try and play them, and one of those guitars will speak to you. And it is very hard to generalise because you might play, two of the same guitars, and you might really bond with one of them and not the other. Both will be great guitars. If you want a vintagey one, go for American Original. If you want a more modern guitar, go for the Ultralux.
I have to say, I'm a big telly player. I've found trying out tellies, probably more variation across Telecasters than any other guitar I've tried out.
I've got a theory about that. And it's a theory that I think Josh Scott from JHS first proposed to us.
Indeed. It's very,
so
very
it's not my theory, it's his theory. And it is that, because it's so simple...
Like a fuzz face. Yeah, I know exactly what you can say.
What am I going to say?
Because it's made up of so few constituent parts, change one tiny little bit, and it's like a soup made of 4 ingredients.
Yeah.
You change one of those ingredients, it's going to make a massive difference. If you've got 20 ingredients, change one, it's not going to make the big difference. So yeah. Sorry, I've stolen your thunder.
No, not at all. I think it shows that we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
It's more simple guitar.
God, I love tellies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got a pick in my hand.
Oh, right,
I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Good luck, Darren.
And that within the eye.
Leon Baron, he says, "Hey lads, question about volume in a band setting. Do you guys have any tips that you use mid-gig to confirm that your guitar is at the right volume? I don't have any IEMs or monitors going on in my band. Cheers."
Trust the sound, man.
Yeah, and if you don't have a sound engineer,
Move around the stage.
Yeah.
So make sure it sounds good where you are, but just have a little meander around the stage and annoy everyone on the way. Really important. But just have a listen to. It's really important that you mix yourself on stage. Make sure that the noise coming off the stage has got to sound good. Yeah. So just have a walk around and make sure that you can hear it.
Get someone out front to have a listen. I mean, it's so... Everyone wants to be heard all the time, right? Well, when they're singing, when somebody's singing, you need to be quieter than you think. And when they're not singing and you're playing a solo, if you are playing a solo or an important guitar line, you've got to be way louder than you think. And that causes a lot of problem in bands, because when you're sound checking or when you're setting up, everyone thinks that loud sound is way too loud, and it's not. The guitar solo needs to be as loud as the lead vocal. And that is very hard to understand if you haven't been doing it a long time. And that volume variation you need from your rig. So this is the opposite of how a lot of modern gigs work, right? Because, and actually a lot of gigs in general, you go there and the sound engineer says, "Can I have all your sounds, please?" You play your clean sound. He says, "Can I have your overdrive sound?" You play the overdrive sound. He's like, "That's way too loud, mate." And I'm like, "No, it's not."
I had it last gig I played, exactly the same.
Because I'll deal with it. Well, what happens is, by about the 14th bar of your 16-bar solo, the sound engineer looks up from Facebook and it's like, "Oh, that dude's taking a solo up on the fader," and I just can't be doing with that.
Yeah.
It's like, tell you what, we're a dynamic band. We play as a band, and we play respectfully of one another, and we manage our volume. So if you could just be on that, what you'll get is a nice dynamic response out front. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not talking about 50,000 people in a stadium, because that changes everything.
Of course.
And you're dealing with like 100 billion trillion watts. That does really change everything. But like normal club and pub type gigs, the way we've always done it anyway is you regulate your volume
Yeah.
and be loud when you need to be loud and be quiet when you need to be quiet. Play like a band, play the song, make sure the singing is the most important thing that happens all night, and you're golden.
Yep.
As long as you have the headroom on your amp to be able to do that. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that's I suppose if you've got a small amp cranked, then you really do need to rely on that out front.
Yeah, it's again, it's just changing variables, isn't it? Every
Yeah,
time.
and understanding the game. So, like you say, as the venue gets bigger, your reliance on the sound engineer is much higher because you're not going to hear a deluxe reverb in Wembley Stadium. None of us are playing Wembley Stadium, so it's not a problem
Yet.
Yeah, yeah.
Watch your space.
But sorry, to answer your question more simply, Leon, ask somebody.
Yeah, hopefully you've travelled to the gig with somebody else. It's not just you guys. Have them as your scout, as your spotter.
Turn your guitar down. Go, is my guitar loud enough? And they'll go, no.
Yeah.
Justin Baylog. Hello, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
Right, my Les Paul bridge pickup is crazy, bright and beautiful. The neck is a bit woolly. Any
Crazy,
thoughts?
bright and beautiful. The neck pickups too woolly.
Any thoughts on balancing them out rather than rolling off the bridge tone?
Pick up height, maybe.
Yeah. Get an underwound for the neck. It's a
Yeah.
very, very common story.
Yeah, it's really if the pickups don't sound balanced in the middle, no matter what you do, or when you switch between them, it's a really hard thing to do. Like in my vlog where I did expensive pickups in a cheap guitar, you can hear that the original pickups, nothing I do to those will make them sound balanced, regardless of height or tone control or whatever. But I put the new pickups in there, and it's just I couldn't make them unbalanced.
Yeah.
So if it'll come down to if the neck pickup is right or not. Getting a low wind neck pickup is a really simple but
Check out the
effective solution.
Lola, I think they're called Imperial low winds. They just sound spectacularly good.
Yeah.
Every guitar I hear them in, I really like them. Depends what you got in there already. So Les Paul could be anything. I don't know whether it's a vintage reissue type 1 or if it's a ceramic magnet 498T or whatever they were, 500T. Obviously that will have a bearing, but definitely check out a super traditional underwound PAF style, which could get you there.
Plenty of people do them.
Yep.
Lots of people.
Damn, Marcus, says Paul Matulovic.
Hello, Paul.
Why are your pedals so good?
I couldn't possibly tell you. I've no idea.
And Mick, have you seen the new Sakalis SRV pedal? No, I haven't. I'm kind of interested in that.
Oh, it looks spectacular.
Does it?
It does.
Cool.
Yeah. Their stuff is so good.
Every time I think I understand the SRV tone, something new convinces me that I really don't. So could be time to dive back in. Nice. And Spencer, hey there, big fan of the show. Do you guys still use the baby Ecorec you have? I just purchased a modern unit from a guy named Marcello in Italy, and I'm psyched.
Haven't used it for a while. So what I found is I bought it first. It broke the day I bought it. The wire came off the drum. And so that went in literally the day I got it. And that went in, it was like an £800 repair to get that sorted out.
It
And
was
that was
an £800 repair. I signed the invoice off.
And that was at mates rates, So one thing I found with the Baby Rec is that you turn it on, it sounds amazing. After about half an hour, it sounds even better because that tiny little bit of heat in the wire makes it expand and actually puts the correct amount of pressure on the heads.
Oh, no way.
That's how finicky it is.
Oh, you don't want to travel with that, do you?
No. I mean, it won't be doing any gigs anytime soon, but it's a magic thing.
I messaged you a few weeks ago saying I'd got this Carlsberg Mantis Echo.
Oh,
unit.
yes.
It's in the car.
Oh, fantastic. Well,
So
okay,
you're
great.
going to love that.
Yes, we'll do.
Yeah.
You're leaving it here with us then?
Yeah,
Brilliant.
for a bit. Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yes, come on.
Paul Collingridge says volume check. That's how you know if your girlfriend is a keeper.
It's true. It's true.
She says no, turn it up. And apparently the Crazy Tube Circuits Crossfire pedal might be an SRV one, by the sounds of things.
It makes sense. Yeah, yeah.
Actually, Crazy Tube Circuits and Sakalis, they're Greek. They're both Greek, aren't
Yeah.
they?
What is it with those crazy Greeks? They've made some damn good pedals, haven't they?
They really do.
Yeah.
There we are. I think we're all done.
Excellent.
So, thank you, everyone.
Yeah, thanks
for being
everyone.
here. Marcus, thank you.
Thank you, Marcus.
No worries, guys. It's been fun.
And I think you are our first guest here for VCQ.
You are.
Yeah.
So there we go.
It's nice. It's nice to get some different
That's
perspective.
the first.
We talked a little bit about fuzz. I guess in the future we could probably let people know that guests are coming. We weren't sure Marcus was going to make it in time today, so we didn't want to promote it, as it were, and let everyone down. Better to under-promise and over-deliver, Dan, isn't it?
You took the words straight out of my orifice.
Speaking of orifices, we need to go and stuff them with
Yes.
meat.
Indeed.
Meat.
Let's do that.
Yes. Right, play us out then, Dan.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thanks for being with us.
See ya.
Cheerio.